You can support this show at patreon.com/ASA podcasting.
The wasteland is a host of apocalyptic mess as the sole survivor wanders out about to see the rest. Nuclear explosions sending out the gamma rays from deep within the core, frozen atomic waves. From deep within the core, frozen atomic waves.
Hello and welcome to the 126th edition of the Fallout Feed. I am Andrew, joined today by Ray. Hi, Ray.
Evening, Andrew.
And Sarah. Hi, Sarah. And Jess. Hi, Jess.
Hello,
Hi.
Andrew.
Sorry.
It's cool. I know you got kids and stuff going on, so I did.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Hi, everybody. Fallout Feed this evening. We're getting into some feedback for our last batch of quests, or our quest, I should say, for I Am Become Death for Fallout 76. And this is the Roundtable project we're doing. If any of you new listeners out there, Roundtable project, we all roll random characters with our character generator. You can find that on our website, asapodcasting.com, in the Fallout Feed section. Roll yourself a random character, hop on in, send us some feedback if you want to, like these kind people have done. Lee, Clint, Steve, Jen, and Will. You'll hear from them tonight. Roll yourself a character, jump on in the fun. We will be starting a new season here coming up in just a few weeks. So if you would like to, if you caught us mid-season, with Fallout 76 last time in our introduction, we started, I don't know, when did we start? November or something like that with this last season. But if you caught us midstream or whatever, and you like to hop into the fun, we suggest hopping on in. We'll be starting here up again in another few weeks. Send us an email at thefalloutfeed@gmail.com to let us know you're interested in participating, and we will get you all signed up. Because we have a really fun episode. One of our favorite episodes every season is just when we get together and hang out and roll random characters and just sort of chat about the role and what sort of problems we foresee or what we're excited about with the role. So they'll be coming up here in like a month or so. Probably get another season going before too long. And we're going to be doing the best side quests in Fallout 76. We just tonight are finishing up the main quest by dropping a nuke. Story-wise, it should have been on the Scorch Beast. I didn't do that. I wonder what everyone else did with their first nuke opportunity. So we should have gotten that Scorch Beast Queen down. So we'll hear what everyone had to do with that. I, of course, went over to... God, I always forget what it's called. The Burrows. I haven't been over there in a while now, though. All this new content coming out, you guys. There's just so much to do. And I haven't even gotten around to doing most of it at all. But, yeah, so we'll get into some show notes with what's going on. What's it called? The Inside the Vault, all sort of stuff coming out. We got this feedback from all the people. We got an email from Keith. Lots of stuff to get into tonight. But first, let's go ahead and work down the road. Jess, did you get to play any Fallout this week?
You know, I got about 5 hours in. A lot less than usual, but none of the new content. I played mostly last weekend on Ron, so I was doing my Roundtable character. But see, he can't progress in the main quest because they keep adding new stuff, like you're saying. He was finishing off the bucket list. I had a solo fight with the real sheep squatch, which on Ron, that was quite the challenge.
Oh, Lord. You succeeded? Good
I
Lord.
succeeded. I actually posted a pic in the Xbox group at like 4 a.m. when I took him down. It was like 3 a.m. or 4 a.m. on Saturday, I think. And I was pretty proud. But the truth is, I did a lot of kiting, and there was a pond. He spawned. So I didn't get the event or quest popping that said free range, but I was wandering along a road doing my bucket list stuff, trying to get to Berkeley Castle, and I ran into a handy and, herding the sheep, and I talked to him, and then boom, sheep squatch comes running. So I kited him around the pond.
Oh, good Lord.
Luckily, I grabbed a few scorched in to shoot at him and distract him, and made it, but I broke all my guns, and that laser was doing almost nothing.
Yeah. Oh, man.
So,
Good to create some bad guys up there with you. I never thought about that.
That's really what helped, honestly. A couple of scorched believers coming in, they made me a true believer in their help. And and then towards the end, I had a glowing angler, which would usually be the bane from hell, but he helped me take him down. So, I say solo, but it was really with the assist of all the enemies in the game. Appalachia's a wild place, but sometimes it helps.
That's really cool.
And I haven't done much with the loot I got from him, though. I got a sheep squatch skull. I got a horn. I think I got some meat, which I made a good sheep squatch pie out of. Actually, it cooked into mutton, I think. So that was the excitement, finishing up bucket list finally and doing the sheep squatch.
That's nice. I like the horns. I haven't invested in the gladiator perk, which is why I haven't really used this weapon much, but I did get a drop of the sheep squatch. What's it called? Club, I think it's called, the club. So there's a one-handed melee weapon that you can build if you collect a couple of horns. And I made a couple for some people in the group. I just haven't used it much because I'm a
you prefer unarmed. Yeah, you prefer the unarmed stuff to the actual clubs. And
yeah, when I'm out of power, I've been in power armor so much because of my weight restrictions these days. But it was if I'm out of power armor, which I generally prefer, the unarmed stuff. But if I have to get into my power armor, like to do. I guess I use an axe most of the time because you can't. So mad. Still, guys. I know I rant about it all the time, but the power fist. Why can you not put a power fist on power armor? The word power is right there in it. It should be moddable that you could put a power fist on the end of your arm.
We never thought of this before, but with melee being the most, the strongest thing in the game right now, even though they keep trying to balance a little bit better, melee plus power armor, with the power fist, that might be a bit much.
That would be insane.
Steven in chat right now says mutton. I guess we're speaking his language.
Mutton.
But have you emptied out your? Have you been in the game since the update? Have you emptied out some of those legendaries in your stash?
Okay, well, I started off on a rant last week and got distracted mid-thought. But if I would have finished my rant last week, you would have heard me say the only reason that this 3-star legendary vendor is popping up right now is because I held onto my shit for so long and I couldn't stand it anymore, and I got rid of all of it onto another character. So it's muled away onto a different character, and then the next day they announced that shit.
I remember you doing that.
So everyone has me to thank for the new legendary vendor because I finally got rid of all my stuff so I couldn't sell it without a huge fucking hassle of, server hopping and character hopping and all that BS. So woohoo! Now I have to go server hop them back over to me somehow.
Well, look at it this way. We're wrapping up the season. We're spreading the wealth. So maybe you can use the other character a bit, save up some script, and get something for your new character.
Yeah, we need to discuss the script stuff. Like we're finally getting some information about how this is all working. It's in the game now. The vendor is not coming, and well, the vendor is coming a week early. I saw in the patch notes, so that's a good bonus. But it's weird that they started letting us scrap them before the vendor actually came. I thought that was kind of strange for some reason.
They were just trying to save our stashes. They even said so in the preview. They're like, we know you guys are holding on to them. We've heard your complaints.
Yeah. Well, give us larger stash sizes then, too, guys. Come on. They give us backpacks. That's another thing we'll get into here in notes. That's before we ask some more Fallout play questions for the week. Eddie has joined us. Hi, Eddie. How's it going?
Hey, pretty good.
Great. Thanks so much for hopping on the show this evening.
No problem.
And why don't we just go ahead and ask you, Eddie, have you played any Fallout this week?
I was playing a little before I got on here, yeah. I was trying to get through some of the scout quests.
Ooh, the new content.
Yeah, I'm just a tadpole. Some of it's kind of hard to figure out. There's no real direction to some of it.
Yeah, I got on just for a few minutes today, and I ran up there and I tried to start doing a little bit of it, and there weren't enough quest markers for me, and a little bit too much of a do this, like sort of a like clean up this area, and I'm like, I need quest markers to tell me specifically what to do.
Yeah, it's really pretty vague. I went over to Dolly Sods and tried to clean it up over there, but
yeah, I'm still not sure what they mean by clean. I'm like, all right, I found a cabin that's totally a disaster. I'm clicking on stuff. It's not really doing anything. I don't know what you want me to do. So
I killed everything I could find, but it didn't give me any credit.
It's like, do they mean clear out or clean up? I can't tell what they're asking yet. And I didn't want to go to Google and ruin it yet. You know what I mean? I'll struggle a little bit more before I figure that. I still haven't found the damn camera yet, Eddie.
Oh man, I found that the first night, but nobody bothered to come up and help me find it. I've used it a few times, but just not. I think the most I've used it was to find the sheep squatch when it disappears.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You were mentioning that, but you also said they may have patched it already. Could you just tell me what the situation was and what they've done?
Well, sometimes when the sheep squatch imposter would be killed, it would disappear. It'd go back into stealth mode, and you couldn't see it. So if you pulled up your camera and looked through the viewfinder, it would tell you if you were looking at it, and then you could kind of look for the shimmer.
You mean after it dies, so you could collect your
So you could
junk?
collect because usually it's got some legendary loot on it.
Yeah. I've only actually killed that thing twice now. I've gotten stupid white fedoras each time.
Oh yeah, I've got 8 or 10 of those.
Yeah, I'd rather the imposter helmet, but I think that's I don't know if I'd actually wear that thing though. It's a little hideous.
I've got one, but yeah, I don't wear it anymore.
It's a little Gomby. It looked cool at first, but it's just too large.
Yeah.
Too large, you say, Jess?
Yeah, just too large. It's too big.
A big head. Is there any sort of headwear from the actual sheep squatch? What are we doing with that skull?
I bet we're gonna mount it with taxidermy, but I don't know yet. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, that's a good call.
They weigh a lot. I've been scrapping them.
What sort of skull is used on the horseman armor? Wasn't there a horseman armor with skull mass? Was that just a Brahmin skull or something?
Pretty sure that's just a Brahmin skull. Yeah.
That's cool. The 4 horsemen, there's 3 out of 4 now out, I believe. And
Yep.
the atomic shop, is anyone bothered with those? I'm not much of a power armor paint guy, but I know a lot of people in our Xbox group, they just go nuts about their power armor paint.
You know, I think there's been so much coming fast and furious lately that we're all running out of the atoms for it.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people picked up war. You know, pestilence, not so much. It was a little bit icky, but I've seen a couple with war running around, and this new paint with the swirls, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the pestilence had like the open seeping wounds and pustules on it. It's like,
I mean, why would you even want to wear power armor that's named petulance?
It's like the power armor looks sticky or something. You know?
Yeah.
I don't want to touch it.
It's kind of like bloodstained combat armor. You know, I don't get it.
Yeah.
Right. Ray, you're on the road. Check in. Where are you?
So right now I'm in Northern California.
Oh, you're still in California. Nice.
Yeah. Well, it's a big state.
And you have history there too.
Yeah. So I've played a little bit. I played long enough to get my camera. Took some server hopping. And I went off of Eddie's message that said he had found it at Wavy Willard's. So I fast traveled up there and then just kept server hopping until I found something.
Oh, nice. I know Jess had shared, I think it was Jess, probably Jess, she usually shares most useful things, shared a map of the 17, 13, 21, I don't remember how many tourist locations it was, but there's just like a big sort of circle loop you can do around the map. Some people I've heard of doing the server hopping in one location. I've also heard people of having success of just doing the one loop around if you hit each of those locations. I wonder which has the better frequency of success. Like, do you have to server hop less times than you would have to fast travel?
You know, we speculated on it originally, and I was thinking doing the loop would be better because, you know, there's going to be 1 or 2 locations every time. But it seems like people who server hop at least a little have had the best luck. I think the best loop is the Philippine Cemetery, the Colonel Kelly Monument, and the Winding Path, because that's just a 1 or 2 cap fast travel. You do those 3, hop servers, do those 3 again. Or if you want to do the bigger fast travel, then down by the Minor Monument, the Teapot, the Lighthouse, that area.
You sound like you've done this multiple times already. Have you done this with multiple characters and then your husband's character and stuff?
My husband's character and mine. I mean, we did it together a couple times. Like I said last week, it took me about 4 days to find it. Probably about 4 hours of hopping total. But the problem is, it's a game. You know, you always get distracted by something shiny.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah, I'm still messing with stuff. I just finally got my shop up today. Like everyone, you know, yesterday was a mad scramble, or 2 days ago even now, to get your little, it's not shop. What is it called? What is our home base shop called now? Our selling station. What is that thing called now?
I don't know. I actually,
how do we refer to our store? Is it our store?
I think so. Yeah, just to call it our you know, it's been player vending for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Vendor station.
Vendor station.
That's it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got on this morning. I didn't get as much time as I wanted because they had the servers down. But I did get on long enough to see that the bright neon green camp markers that everybody gets when they have the vending machine.
What?
Isn't that neat? I thought that was really cool. I saw someone making reference to it on Twitter about how all these camps give the map a really nice pop of color, and I was just kind of like, what are you talking about? But then when I opened up the map and saw it, I was like, oh, that is really nice to see all those little bright green dots all over the place.
Yeah.
It's kind of nice.
It looks good. I like the hovering and seeing what they're selling, and it even shows the quantity. So okay, if it only showed the type, you might go and be like, oh, plans, and then you get there, they only have 2 or 3.
Yeah, that is great. They will tell you the category and how much of the category they have, but they won't get into specifics. Like you can't be like, oh, they have this combat shotgun that I like. It'll only be they have 15 weapons for sale.
That's kind of cool.
Do they don't distinguish between melee and ranged, right? Like the new vendor, the new legendary vendor does distinguish between melee and ranged when you're doing your cash in, but I don't believe on the player vendor display. I think it just says weapons, how many weapons you have, how many aid, how many.
Yeah, with a little gun icon. Yeah.
Sweet. So Ray, you saw the camps, and that's all. You didn't really have time to run around much.
Yeah, I got. I'm a tadpole.
Oh, nice. Is that if you've actually been
kicked off the quest?
Oh, you just kicked.
Oh no, you kicked off the quest.
Okay.
It's like the base rank. You're
okay.
Once you're in as a tadpole.
You don't start as a frog egg. You start as a tadpole.
Yeah.
I hope we get to the pollywog next. I really like pollywog. It's always one of my favorite words. I like.
No, it's a possum. Can you say a possum?
A possum.
Yeah, the guy that you talk to is very condescending. But then you got to remember he was programmed to talk to much younger people. He points that out.
The little boys.
Yeah. Says the recruits are getting a little older these days.
Shut up, man.
It's a mighty large tadpole.
So,
and Ray, I picture you also recreating the Rocky training scene where he's chasing chickens around the yard. I saw you post a picture of a rooster or chicken or something.
Yeah. My niece and her husband live up in the mountains, and they've got a big property, and they've got chickens. And that one was the number 2 rooster. He's the one that is doesn't get any of the hens.
Oh, okay.
So he tends to hang around the house, and
frustrated as hell.
Yeah. And so my little dog decided it'd be fun to chase him around the yard.
No, I bet he loved that. The dog, not the chicken. He probably hated it.
Yeah, the chicken was irritated.
I'm sure there's the farmers out there all yelling, "A rooster is not a chicken. A rooster is not a chicken" at us as we're using the wrong term. Whatever.
Okay.
How many farmers listen to this podcast is my first question.
No, we need to be careful about making assumptions like that, because I remember one of my favorite podcasts there, like someone was making fun of truckers, and they're like, wait, hang on, don't make fun of truckers. And the person was like, how many truckers listen to your stupid show? And then there was just a mad rush storm on Twitter about how many thousands of truckers like sending pictures of listening to. So I bet there's a couple farmers out there.
Okay, if you're a farmer and you listen to this podcast, email us, tell us what you farm. Tell me how wrong I am.
It's not about right or wrong. It's just about
I support farmers. I love you and appreciate you.
It's about a diversity of community.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
You got time when you're out there riding in the tractor.
Yeah,
it's true.
You got to listen to podcasts. Yeah, music
while you're out there, farming.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, Lee says he farms XP.
Oh my gosh.
Lee's 5.
I guess that's true.
That's terrible.
Sergio has chickens.
He does have chickens. Yeah, and he's got. It's really great. I always like the home chickens. You get the nice bright orange yolks instead of like the dull yellow.
Oh
Mhm.
yeah, the
Pretty
eggs. Oh
speckled,
man,
speckled
I
eggs and
yeah.
brown eggs and all sorts of pretty different patterns and stuff.
I
Depending.
don't like chickens, but I would be down for some fresh eggs. We eat a lot of eggs in this family.
Yeah, I'm totally down
Nice.
with that.
Yeah.
My mom knows. She lives out in a very small community. It's basically the country, and she has a guy who she invests in a cow as he gets it as a calf, and then
Oh, that's nice.
they get the organic grass-fed beef and all the farm-raised organic, perfect eggs and
Oh, that's so nice.
raw milk. It's illegal to sell it, but she still gets it.
Yeah.
Won't tell anyone.
It's delicious. I grew up on a farm.
Yeah. I was say there you go. Hey, Sarah, you have Eddie right here, farmer.
Yeah, not since I was 18, but I still live on the farm, so
That's awesome.
There you go.
I was never paid for my labor, but I grew up with my best friend. His dad was a dairy farmer, so I sort of without realizing it, it was always kind of fun for me going out there, but he got lots of free labor out of me. I kind of worked at a dairy farm growing up.
That's so nice. Can't you can buy raw milk in the grocery store.
Can you in California? I
Sure.
don't think you can in Indiana.
yeah, it has to be pasteurized, though. I think too. It might have all the butter fat in it still, but
Oh yeah.
I
I'm
don't
pretty
think it's unpasteurized.
okay. Maybe it's totally thought it was raw. I could be wrong.
Gotta
And
kill
I
that
could be wrong. Raw milk could be totally legal, and I'm just like totally swinging out of right field here, and I have no idea what I'm talking about. But I thought I heard her mention that her milk was illegal.
Yeah. I think it depends on the state, possibly. Retail sale of raw milk is allowed in California.
Nice. You guys are all about the health food out there in
I'm
California.
not surprised at all. Yeah, we're
bunch of
yeah.
hippies.
Because
So
we've bought it
only
before.
13 states.
Eddie, your state
Yeah.
just legalized weed, bro.
I know.
Congrats.
Well, I don't partake anymore in it, but because it got a little out of control for me. But
Oh,
Yeah.
well, they made it so powerful that it's just not even fun.
they made it super weed.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
that's what happens when they cut down so hard on border control, so they can't get it in from other sources anymore. So when you make Americans do it, of course it's going to be higher
Yeah,
quality.
they start lowering the CBD and upping the THC too much.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are a lot of old home family strains out there too. Hopefully, still.
The old dirty brown.
Is it still illegal in your state, Andrew?
Of course.
Mm.
Of course. Indiana and Alabama will be two of the last ones.
I mean, it's illegal in most states still, right?
I think so.
Actually, more states than not have either a medical or
Oh,
recreational.
okay.
Well,
yeah, if you put
medical, yeah,
medical.
but recreational.
I will take
Yeah.
medical. I will take medical at this point, you guys.
Well, a lot of states they're super limited. Like they say, New York has medical, for instance, but it's really, really difficult.
You're right. Yeah. So it's not like Michigan is going to have straight up. They didn't even do. They did do medical for a while, but they just straight up went to.
Yeah, we had medical for
about-
I think 3 or 4 years before.
Yeah, and now it's like Indiana that you can see. There's already billboards and shit in northern Indiana. Like,
Mhm.
don't you dare bring it back. We're gonna.
Really?
They've already started a fear campaign about not
Interesting.
transferring it over state lines.
Was it the Murder Mountain documentary on Netflix that talked about how going legal has been really hard for some of the farmers? I think it was the Murder Mountain documentary, but it was interesting to learn how regulations and taxes and all these fees that they didn't have to pay prior are really affecting the marijuana farmers in California. And it's going to be interesting to see just how the regulation truly affects business and what that's going to do for the black market, because there's still plenty of people out there.
Yeah, it's still
that
going to be
aren't,
cheaper.
you know?
It'll still be cheaper on the black market because those
Yeah.
people don't have to pay the the regulatory fees. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't partake. I not a part of that culture, but it's interesting to like watch and read and see how things go. That's like those kinds of documentaries are so interesting to me.
Well, it's just always funny to me how hypocritical it is to be claiming to be, from the country of the land of the free and home of the brave, yet like we try to clamp down on what people can do with themselves in their free time. It's just
Yeah.
So if you nuke the super THC weed plant, what does it turn into?
Nern root.
Rad. Oh,
That's where
That was a
nerd
good
root
one.
comes from.
that was a good one.
Maybe it's crimson nerd root then.
That's what I was. Oh yeah,
Yeah. I mean, it does sing at you. How many plants sing at you?
it's true.
Well, at least we hear it singing.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are we doing before we Nern root? Yeah. All right, who didn't say did I ask everyone? No, Sarah, and then you didn't even get the chance to play this week, did you?
Yeah. So you guys got to experience a little bit of what my life is like right now before we started the show. So I haven't been able to play much often.
And give us a brief sample of what that was like. You want to go poke the baby a little bit?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We're sitting here waiting to start the show, and my child is screaming in the other room. She's fine. She's just a typical toddler. And Jessica's like, poor thing. I'm like, she's fine.
she's fine.
Yeah,
she's
I'm not
fine.
immune to the crying yet.
That wasn't a painful cry. That was a I'm frustrated cry.
Yeah,
She's out there with her father. She's not by herself. So she's fine.
As a mother, you can tell.
Yeah.
And it's I'm like this too, and I understand when I see other parents do this, but it's amazing how from an outside view how other people view like your parenting. Like they're like, oh, poor guy, and I'm like, he's fine.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Situation like you're doing. It's like he's crying in the store. They're like,
Yep.
oh my gosh, poor little guy. It's like, no, I'm crying because he said he couldn't have a toy. And it's
Yeah.
not because he's actually hurt or
Yeah.
anything. He's just throwing a fit to get
Yeah.
attention.
She's crying because I wouldn't let her eat the Cheerio off the store floor, you know?
Yeah, yeah. She wanted to lick the toilet seat in
Yeah,
the bathroom. Yeah, like
Mhm.
no.
Yeah.
And so your kid had a snack tonight?
Did she have a snack?
Yeah.
Are you talking about are you talking about the Legos?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's all right. She's all right, but we've learned we got to put the Legos away.
That's the best.
You know, she has been so good about putting things in her mouth. But yeah, she walked into my bedroom. This is actually the other day, and just spit a bunch of Legos into her hand right in front of me. So it's time to put the Legos away.
And you were saying you can only assume that only a certain percentage made it out through the mouth.
I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's been a few days now, so I imagine that whatever did make it into her stomach passed. But she seems like she's okay. I mean, I wasn't going to go digging for it to check.
Yeah. I mean, she is child number 2 after all.
It's second child syndrome, I guess. I don't know. She seems to be fine. It could be that she didn't eat anything. But definitely anything that is small has now been put in a very high place.
And
My poor 6-year-old son is like just traumatized. All of his fun toys are being put away
because of his
little sister.
Everything.
Yeah.
You ruin everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible and hilarious.
It's just that period of life, you know? Everything's broken.
Ray, your California adventure continues?
Yes, it does.
Are you next week doing an episode somewhere special?
So next week,
I can't tell what the schedule is, but I thought you and Sarah were supposed to meet up at some point.
Oh, that's this week, but we're not.
Yeah. That was supposed to be today.
No, it was supposed to be today.
Yeah, but
So
couldn't quite figure out how to move the whole operation out into the social space.
Yeah. So the problem is I live in the Bay Area, and when you live here, you're either really rich or you're like me and you live in a tiny apartment. So there's the reason that I have the gaming bed and the reason I podcast from my gaming bed is more out of necessity than anything else. It's not for comfort. So I don't really have a space for two people to podcast. It's just if we were out in the living room, you would hear my child screaming like you could through the door earlier.
Hey, that's fine. She can be on the show.
Yeah. I mean, so
No, that's cool.
Ray didn't want a podcast from my bed. So
Nope.
Ray in the gaming bed. Put a PS4 controller in his hand.
yeah. Oh, we should. Oh man. All right. He's going to be podcasting with you at some point. Yes. Hopefully.
Yeah, we're supposed to meet up.
Okay.
The show before the 25th would be the 23rd. Is that right?
Well, yeah, it was. That show got moved to Saturday, so
Yeah. But you still want to do a show that Thursday night? We can still do a show if you want.
we could
I
if you're
think
still
that-
going to be around, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
I'll be there. I assumed that we were gonna do a normal show anyway, and we're gonna do that Saturday show. Basically, because this recording time is super shitty for our friends over in the UK. It seems like other countries we can sort of work around the schedule. They're far enough in the distance in the future that it kind of works out. Turns out to be the morning time or afternoon for them a lot of the time. But our friends in the UK, we record at 10 p.m. and United States Eastern time, and that's fucking 3 a.m. or something annoying in London.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we've actually had quite a few people be like, fuck it, I'll stay up.
Yeah. Which is so cool.
Yeah. And then they're like, yeah, it's 5, 6 a.m. I gotta go to work. Like,
Yeah.
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 But so the special Saturday episode Ray was mentioning, anyone who sent in any feedback all season long for their character, please go ahead and plan on showing up on the 25th of May. That is, I now realize that is Memorial Day weekend. So that my bad on that. But it's not in UK. But so Simon, that's when he was available next. So I wanted to let him hop on, and because he always wanted to come on the show, but it's, like I said, pretty inconvenient time. So we're gonna do Saturday the 25th. Anyone who sent in feedback this season, please feel free to hop on. Let me know, and I'll bump. I've created a little chat thread in the Facebook group there, so we can get names together.
And
I
I'll
have a
be live from
suggestion.
Nashville, Tennessee.
What'd you say, Ray? You'll be
I
in
said I'll be live from Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, nice.
Love
You're gonna
it.
go into the Smokies?
The who?
The Smokies? Smoky Mountains? Gonna go to Tennessee? Gonna drive through the mountains?
Oh, that'll be on the way home. That's after Nashville.
You gonna see any music when you're in Nashville?
No doubt. I have two nieces that live there, and they're both in the music industry. So
Holy shit, that's great.
good chance.
That'll be nice. Yeah, that's one of those places where you don't have to go see specific bands. You don't have to know that you can just go to places and see live music, and it'll just be good. Nashville's one of those places where you Indianapolis, you go out, you got a 70% chance that band's gonna suck ass. Nashville, it's like 8% that band's gonna suck. You know what I mean? You have to have your chops down to make it in Nashville.
A lot more competition there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. So we need to check in with your food trip though, Ray. It's been since Louisiana, and we didn't even really talk about food much. I don't think.
Well, so no, we talked when I was in El Paso.
Oh, you're right.
And that's when I brought up the sopapillas.
Yeah.
And we never circled back around because I realized that not everybody knows what a sopapilla is.
Well, I know what it is, but I've had it in at least 2, if not 3 different forms, and I just kind of wanted to toss it around the room and see what other people think a sopapilla is or what it is. Eddie, up in Michigan, you guys munching on sopapillas very much?
Yeah, no, I have no clue what that is.
All right. Jess, New York. You're in New
Yono,
York.
Yono Stay. It sounds like a cleaning product to me. I have no idea.
Sopapilla. That is. California, Sarah. Yeah, obviously know what these are.
I don't.
Oh my goodness.
I don't.
That surprises me for some reason, especially the California thing. For some reason, I think Californians have a special, knowledge about Mexican food for some reason. But you guys aren't near the border. You're like as close to the Mexican border as I am.
Well, I mean, it depends like which part of California, obviously, but yeah, in the Bay Area, we have
You're like
we have so much good food here, though. We have just any kind of food you can think of. We probably have it here somewhere.
Yeah.
It's probably just me. I haven't been exposed to them yet.
Also, in California, you have the benefit of having the large variety of food because the ethnic food from Asia, because people like in Indiana, like what do we have? We have basically, the food of different immigrant groups as they've come over. There's lots of different Polish and German and very like influence of foods like that. We don't have a ton of Italian people in Indiana, so there's like not a lot of Italian heritage here, but lots of German and Polish and Central and Eastern European foods and stuff like that here. That's what we get. And California have the benefit of benefiting from like, Japanese immigrants and stuff like this. All sorts of like crazy good like Asian influence. Whereas we get like, lots of pork.
Oh, we have plenty of that here too. We have, I mean, it's just so amazing and diverse. I really appreciate just being able to experience so many different kinds of food from so many different places. I feel very lucky being able to do that here.
Yeah, and your kids are spoiled on that shit. And then
for sure.
And you'll take them to places like where I live, and they're going to be like, "What is this?" You know what I mean? What is this food? Why isn't there like a white chicken Alfredo pizza, Mom? Where's the fancy arugula salad?
You don't have arugula salad?
Well, I mean, we do now, but you guys have had it for 20 years. You know what I mean?
I love arugula.
Spicy.
Yeah, my nephew down in Southern California, I went out with him and his family to Japanese food, and his little 2-year-old daughter is sitting there eating salmon eggs like it was nothing. You just popping them in, she squish them in her mouth and get a big grin and keep on going.
That's hilarious.
Eating seaweed salad, the whole 9 yards.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't even get my kid to eat chicken nuggets half the time. Your kid's eating fucking salmon roe over there.
Yeah, so sopapillas are really popular in kind of this the New Mexico, a little bit into Arizona, and a little bit into Texas swath of Mexican food, and it's a dough that is deep fried, and when it's deep fried, it puffs up, and so it's a little pillow pocket kind of a thing. The ones that I had were sprinkled with cinnamon and sugar.
Yum, yum.
And then you squeeze the thing full of honey.
Yeah.
And it's just really soft and tender. A lot of restaurants will like when we were up in Albuquerque a couple of years ago. There, it's more common to get just powdered sugar on it, which almost makes it like a giant beignet.
That's what I was going to ask you. It sounds like a beignet.
I was thinking kind of like a doughboy or a funnel cake. Is it like that or not quite so puffy?
The
well,
funnel
it's
cake is what I was going to use as sort of a kind of comparison.
well, except that funnel cake is just drizzled out.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
It's a hollow because it puffs up, so it forms a big hollow bubble in the middle of it. So it's like Ray said, it's like a pillow, like a little tiny pillow
Mm.
that's hollow in the middle.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And it's
So
just
these are
up.
the sopapillas are usually about 4 by 6.
Oh, those are huge compared to ones I've had. Ones I had are like 2 by 1, like just a little bite size, like pizza roll size almost,
Yeah. Yeah, and that size is more indicative of the beignet.
The beignets are tiny.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought they were
Interesting.
larger for some reason. Have you seen any variations on the sopapilla, Ray?
Not too much. I mean, it's pretty straightforward. It's just
You put honey in the pocket.
Yeah.
So you could really put anything in the pocket.
Well, you could, yeah. You could put peanut butter and jelly in there if you really wanted to.
Ooh. Okay. I'm on board with that. I love me some PBJ.
Yeah.
Shout out to anyone who remembers the One Accord restaurant on McGalliard Street in Muncie from the 1980s. Muncie, Indiana. Shout out, woot woot. That was where we got that style of sopapilla that you're describing, Ray. The delicate little fluffy, crunchy fried dough pocket with powdered sugar and cinnamon and put the honey in the middle, and it's warm and it just melts in your mouth and it's just delicious. Sopapillas are a very common thing that you'll see on the dessert menu of Mexican restaurants around here. But there is a high variation rate of whether you'll get that style or, Ray, what I call the fucking bullshit, cheapo, suck-ass style sopapilla where they just take a tortilla, drizzle honey and sugar on that and give that to you. To cut it like a pizza and then say, here's your sopapilla. I'm like, that is bullshit.
Are you getting sopapillas at Taco Bell?
Yeah. What?
It basically sounds like it, yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty lame.
Indiana, you get a very high variance of extremely shitty Mexican food to okay. I doubt that we have what a Californian would refer to as good Mexican food. But I think we could get okay.
Yeah, there are probably some. We have some here in Buffalo, not as much as New England, but we have some good Mexican. I love how we moved from marijuana to the munchies, by the way. Good flow.
Exactly. Well, that's what you do. That's what you do. And the thing about the East Coast is, Jess, we did, in Indiana, we do get some Mexican, but we don't have nearly the percentage of our Hispanic immigrants being Mexican. We have a lot more Cubans and Dominicans and like a higher variance of Puerto Ricans and Costa Ricans and on the eastern half of the United States compared to Texas and California, New Mexico, Arizona.
Yep.
All with some really good food too.
Oh, Cubano sandwiches, hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm hungry.
Puerto Rican food.
Mofongo.
Ray, you go to Puerto Rico, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
What was that mofongo? What was it again?
Hands down, my favorite Puerto Rican dish is mofongo.
You mentioned that before, right? I think.
Yeah.
What was it?
It's green plantain that's cooked and then smashed with garlic, bacon, and pork rinds, and then you pound that into a wooden bowl and make a hole in the middle and fill it up with. My favorite thing is shrimp criollo, which is big shrimp cooked in tomatoes and onions and peppers and all that, and that's heavenly.
So you kind of line the bowl with it, then make a hole in the
and that's
crust or whatever.
Yeah, so it's like a crust.
Like a pot pie.
Very much like a pot pie without the cover.
That kind of sounds good.
So, Sergio's right. Pernil is excellent. I love finding these little roadside shops where you'll see a big roasted pig sitting out in front, and you go in and just buy this pieces of whole roasted pig, and it's got the skin that's all crispy and crunchy and seasoned with garlic and spices. That's to die for. But
That's something that I really don't see a ton around anymore. Is like the meat hanging in the window butcher shop style thing anymore. Maybe you still get that in big cities, but you really don't see that a ton anymore. But like when I was in Germany, they still have that sort of thing. I always love that. There's like the pork hanging in the window.
So my wife did finally put her foot down because basically from the time we left, from the time we got to El Paso until just before we headed up to Northern California, we pretty much had either Mexican or Southwest food every day.
Oh yeah.
Yum.
Well, you have to take advantage. I mean, I know in Atlanta you probably still get some really good Hispanic food, Mexican food, Tex-Mex. You can probably still get it in Atlanta. But in Atlanta, you probably get great everything.
It's reasonable.
You still got to take advantage while you're in the area.
No, absolutely. So the reason I couldn't be on the show last week was because we were going to my favorite restaurant in Southern California for my dad's birthday, and it's called Ancho's, and it's a Southwestern style food. And
what do you mean when you say Southwestern? Is there a difference between Tex-Mex, Southwestern, Mexican? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's kind of like Mexican food, but it's not Mexican. It's
not authentic.
It's spiced differently.
Yeah.
So less smoking hot, more
white Mexican food,
rich flavors. So, but I love Ancho's. If anybody's ever in Riverside, California,
what's your dish?
Stop at Ancho's.
What's your dish?
Tacos al carbone.
Tacos al carbone.
Yep.
Tacos with carbon?
Yes. It's essentially steak. It's I get it charred, medium rare. Yeah, it's charred over a mesquite fire.
Yummy.
It's delish.
So a brief summary of anything else you've had. Have you done? I assume California has sushi. Are you a sushi guy or anything like that?
Yep. Had really good sushi in Irvine, and what else? Had to have the required In-N-Out burger.
Oh yes, I'm glad you brought up In-N-Out. That's something my brother. It's like I don't know why. It's everyone from California like holds a like this huge the pride for this In-N-Out. And my brother's a California transplant. And, raised in Indiana, schooled in Pennsylvania, and now resides in California for his adult life. But every time we go there, he like makes a point to take me there. Like he's really trying to impress me or something. And I noticed Californians have this really big pride for In-N-Out burgers. And I don't know if I'm not getting the right thing. I just yeah, it's fine. It's a good burger. I'll go to Five Guys across the street. I'll be happy. But I don't like In-N-Out is really like they wear it on their sleeve. Californians and In-N-Out.
Well, for the longest time, it was only in the very heart of Southern California you could get that. And it is. I mean, it's just a little hamburger. They do grill the bun, which is good, and they put Thousand Island dressing or secret sauce.
There's a sauce that they put on.
That's animal style.
Yeah, you need to get it animal style, from what I've heard.
Mm-hmm.
And onions, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's good. We always get it.
Yeah.
They have hand cut fries and.
No, it's totally great. I don't want to besmirch it. I don't want people to feel like I'm coming down on it because it was totally tasty, totally great burger. But my brother was going on about it a little thick,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard other Californians go on about it, so I just wondered if it was kind of like a thing,
Yeah.
I think it just depends. I've pretty much always had an In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Close by.
Well, it's like if you've ever heard it's like if you've ever heard a New Yorker talk about Shake Shack.
So there's a Shake Shack opening up in the Bay Area and I want to go because I hear everybody talk about Shake Shack.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel about people in In-N-Out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. I guess I see that.
Or people from the South with Chick-fil-A, or us from
Oh,
New
yeah.
England talking about Dunkins, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Mhm.
but I need my Dunkin'.
Or
I don't understand that at all,
I
by
mean,
the
No,
way.
it's
they're
terrible
everywhere now.
coffee and they're horrible donuts.
I don't, yeah. They
Yeah,
probably say that about Starbucks here, though. Everybody's like, oh, Starbucks.
yeah, or the Canucks and Tim Hortons. Have you had Tim Hortons? I was like, I don't get it.
No.
Oh, it's so watery. What are they thinking?
But I was surprised to see that now there's In-N-Outs everywhere. There were some in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
They're up here in Northern California.
We've had them up here for a long
There's
time.
In-N-Out in Texas.
Well, there weren't any In-N-Outs up here when I left. So
Mm.
we had Run Burger Run.
Oh,
You had what?
Run Burger Run. That was the In-N-Out knockoff in Northern
Really?
California. Yep.
Interesting.
So, but now they're everywhere.
Yeah, they are everywhere.
So, kind of the mystique is a little worn off for me now.
Yeah, I think.
That is kind of it. Things are spreading all across, but we still don't have
Mhm.
In-N-Out, so that still has that mystique. And like
Yeah.
we got our first Sonic here in Buffalo. We still don't have them in Maine. We got our first Sonic like a year and a
Nice.
half ago, so everybody was
Oh,
lined up
wow.
forever.
Sonic is already come and gone in Indiana. They're all like out of business now here.
Yeah, we have very few here.
So where are they popular? Is it a southern
South.
thing?
I think they're down south.
Yeah, we've got them all over the place in the South.
Sonic is great. Their drinks are fantastic, but I do not like their food. And I am
Yeah.
just not going to drive 45 minutes to go get just a drink.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
have some sort of like limeade or cherry limeade.
Yeah, cherry
Yeah,
limeade.
the cherry limeade.
Great.
Hmm.
I love that.
But
drink.
and that's the way it was. I had to kind of laugh when the West Coast was making this huge deal about getting Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, suckers! Those are horrible chicken sandwiches.
Well, I think
Oh
that's
my gosh.
point of all this in a way is that like a lot of these foods are not that great. Like we're all kind of like, what's the big deal? But we've got these regional attachments to them.
I happen to love Chick-fil-A, but I've only started eating Chick-fil-A in the last year. I don't know when our Chick-fil-A opened up, but there's only one here that I know of, like in my general vicinity, and I love it.
My favorite Chick-fil-A fact, Sarah. The largest Chick-fil-A in the United States. You can assume what city it's in, of course. Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay. I'm like, why would I assume that?
Well, that's their like home base or whatever.
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah. And the brand new football stadium for the glorious Atlanta Falcons.
Mhm.
That's where it's located.
It's in the stadium?
Yes. Do you see any logical problems having a business which is closed on Sundays
No.
open in the largest restaurant of their establishment at a place that does its only business? I guess
Is it open on Sundays?
I guess they have concerts and stuff, but their main business is open only on Sundays.
So what so did they make an exception and open on Sundays, or no, they're still closed on Sundays?
No, Sarah, that would make Jesus cry.
Yeah, Mr. Caffey wouldn't go for that.
No way. So they built the largest Chick-fil-A, closed on Sundays, in a football stadium, open only on Sundays.
Well,
That's just
Again, I know there's concerts and other events and stuff there.
right.
So
Well, and
it's
college
just
football.
Yeah, you're right too. That's who plays. Does UGA?
Well, they do the Chick-fil-A the Chick-fil-A
bowl?
Yeah, it's the kickoff game for the SEC.
Yeah.
It's always Labor Day weekend.
Yeah, that is a huge deal in the South. College football is. We have Notre Dame in Indiana, so we get a little bit of that college football vibe, but it's nothing like down south. You guys go nuts down there. We got to check in with. Sorry, excuse me. Eddie, up in Michigan.
Oh yeah.
What is the one weird thing that you were raised with that no people outside of Michigan really understand or know about your food or your cuisine? What is Michigan's dish? I don't even know. I go up to my in-laws pretty frequently.
Yeah, see, there's not a whole lot in the lower peninsula, but you get up in the UP and you got the pasties, the meat pie and stuff up there. But there's nothing
nice.
really. Us trolls down under the bridge, we don't have much anything special.
So tell me a little bit about the pasties then.
Oh, it's a meat pie. It's got meat and potatoes and onion. Sometimes it's got like rutabaga or carrot in it and stuff.
Nice.
They're like a meat pie. They're kind of dough folded over it, and they bake them. And
Like,
something you can eat on the go.
I don't understand the concept of a meat pie. I think we've had this discussion before.
Yeah. Empanada.
We
Yeah,
have people chiming. Yeah, we have people chiming in. Like Steve always kind of with his meat pies down in New Zealand, and then like people from the UK will reply about their meat pies, and then people from Australia will like talk about their meat pies. I'm like, that looks delicious. I'd love a sloppy Joe donut. That looks it's yummy.
Yeah, empanada for sure.
Yeah, Jamaicans are big on the meat pies.
Probably just every region's got a little something different they put in them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to be ready to sweat with those.
Oh yeah, but they're spicy.
The Jamaican ones, yeah.
Yeah.
I assume jerk chicken. What sort of other thing Jamaica? Let's see. I know I've had goat, I believe, at a Jamaican restaurant before.
Curry goat.
Yeah, that was really good.
Was it good?
Yeah, delish.
We eat goat cheese and we drink goat milk, so I imagine.
I know it's tasty. It might be just be the meat that they had available.
Yeah.
For their culture or whatever. But yeah, very tasty. I don't know if I've had it in other presentations. That might be the only time I've had goat. Does Indian use goat? Do they use sheep?
Yeah, a lot more lamb.
Yeah. Does goat have a food word? Like sheep to lamb, cow to beef, goat to goat? Is there a goat food word?
No, I think it's pretty much goat.
Yeah, baby goats are kids, right? So that would be a little weird.
Don't eat the kids. Right on. All right, we got some feedback and stuff to get into tonight. So we will check in with Lee, Clint, Steve, Jen, and Will. There's also an email from Keith, and I'll check the email bag again when we got some feedback playing here, see if anything else came in. But we'll go ahead and start things off with Lee here. So let me go ahead and pull this up. Thank you, Lee.
Greetings, Fallout Feed guys and gals. This is Lee Benjamin with The Fates of Heroes. Quiet, everyone. I'll keep this short. We are not here today to mourn our lost heroes, but to finish the important work that they started and led us to. You all have your assigned roles and know what the task is before us. Let's go launch nukes. It has been my pleasure to tell you Loner's story. I'll see you in the wasteland.
And Lee just wanted that sort of an introduction to all of our feedback this week, sort of a pep rally to get our feedback guys together. So we'll continue with Clint.
G'day all, Clint from Brisbane with the final instalment in the story of Gardner, for this season anyway. Our last episode finished with Gardner attaining the rank of general in the Enclave, something which he found more than a little amusing. Quite a rise in stature from the little vault-born who just wanted to be a farmer. So into the White Springs bunker she went and found that the military wing security restriction had been lifted for her. There were quite a few new instructions to learn, all about how to launch a nuclear missile and how it was to be done before the war, with added comments from Modus as to the state of things now. This consisted mainly of informing her that everyone needed to help was now dead and she'd be on her own. There was a suggestion Gardner may need to obtain help, but she decided to go it alone for now. First task was to discover a nuclear keycard from a cargo bot that was flying somewhere over Appalachia. With their new satellite link, Modus could now track cargo bots and officers, but the legwork was up to Gardner. She hurried to the coordinates, and sure enough, there was a cargo bot flying alone just above the WestTech installation. It was attracting the attention of several super mutants who were taking potshots at it. That was a bit of a help, but it also meant that the super mutants would need to be eliminated as well. So on with the trusty T-45 and get to work. The Gatling gun came in handy here, as with a 250-shot magazine, she could just pound away on the cargo bot whenever it flew close enough, or turn it on a super mutant when necessary. It took a while, but Gardner finally managed to get all 4 engines smoking, and down it came. The keycard was hers, and it was time to leave before the cargo bot exploded under what it called dropkick protocol. Now it was back to the surveillance system terminal in the White Springs bunker to track down a few officers carrying the code pieces. These code pieces are made to destruct every Tuesday morning, and new codes added as it was currently Tuesday, it meant Gardner would need to hunt down all 8. She picked the Alpha silo because she knew where that was and got started. The first one was luckily not too far away, just outside White Springs Station and up the road a little. It didn't take too long to find the officer by listening for his beeping sound, then knock him down to obtain the code piece. Modus seemed happy and informed Gardner that she'll need to return to White Springs where she could be given assistance in locating more pieces. This now turned into a bit of a grind in which Gardner at least learned the quickest method for navigating the maze that's the White Springs bunker. In the service entrance, clean off any rads, turn immediately right down the stairs, right again to cut through communications, run diagonally through the lounge into the military wing, then turn right and up the stairs. Simple, once you've done it a few times. The next 7 places Gardner got sent to were as follows. East of Watauga to Cranberry Glades, where the officer was engaged with several protectrons. Near Wendigo Cave, he was alone here. Out the front of the General's Steakhouse, lots of super mutants. The Devil's Backbone, east of Huntersville, more super mutants who killed the officer for her. Superior Sunset Farm in Cranberry Bog, which entailed subduing several mongrel dogs before locating the officer. Next one, up near Vault 94, so Gardner had to travel to the Red Rocket Megastop, then search from there. And the last one just had to be at Forward Station Delta, where, of course, someone had recently dropped a nuke. Gardner decided to have a little break and went back to her camp to stock up on some much-needed supplies, as all this running around was severely depleting what she was carrying. After a while, the fallout had cleared, so in she went and sure enough found the officer, as well as 2 patrolling scorch beasts. Being totally alone, Gardner decided discretion was the plan, so after getting the code piece, she crouched down and attempted to sneak away. She nearly managed it too, but as she neared Watauga, one of them saw her and attacked. She made a run for the station and got there. After a short wait, she could safely travel back to the bunker. The next job was to try to work out how the encryption could be decoded. This meant travelling to Mama Dolce's in Morgantown, where there was a secret Chinese intelligence base. Gardner needed to locate a card inside Mama Dolce's, then find the entrance through some pipes out the back. Once inside, it was fight off all of the liberators, then find a terminal that had information she needed. I won't say exactly how Gardner managed to do the decoding. That would spoil it for everyone. But she eventually came up with a number she hoped would be the right code for Silo Alpha. Next job was to get into the silo and actually launch the missile. None of Gardner's friends are available right now, so she decided to go it alone. Big mistake. Getting in there wasn't too much trouble, and the first few tasks of routing the system and reissuing a security card was done without too much effort, as the robots were fairly easy to take out. Gardner did have a problem, though, as her level of expertise in hacking terminals was minimal, and she had to go in the hard way. And that proved to be just too hard to handle on her own. There was an assaultron that simply would not let her pass and beat her up badly every try, so Gardner had to withdraw and go find help. After some time, she managed to contact some good friends in the PC group who had helped her previously, and they were more than eager to lend a hand. A very big and fierce hand, as it turned out. Gardner's friend Angel had developed into a fearsome fighter with a deathclaw hand that was capable of dealing devastating blows to the enemy. General Gearhead Loco was also handy and came along for the fun. His machine gun and armour were a big help. Eddie was around as well, but although busy on another project, turned up when he was needed later on. The team formed and in they went. Although Gardner had the code and the key cards, Angel took the lead and knocked out that assaultron quickly. Deeper into the silo, there was a lot more resistance from the security robots, and Gardner realised it would have been futile to go any further in alone. There were hundreds of turrets, gutsies, assaultrons, and assorted other robots that attacked at every turn. Eventually, they made it into the computer room, destroyed one computer, replaced mainframe cores into another one, and entered the launch room. They had to clear the room and then wait until some friendly engineer robots were activated. Then Gardner entered the nuclear key card and the launch code. Then it was used the targeting machine to decide where to attack. The idea was to make sure the missile hit Fisher Site Prime, where the Scorched Beast Queen lived. The rest of the launch procedure was pretty much automatic. The crew then hurried to drop site V9, where we watched the missile land and explode. It drove the Scorched Beast Queen out of hiding, and the battle was on. Eddie joined us at the site, and several other former Vault dwellers also joined in, using various weaponry, most of it very good. Gardner was the least experienced there, but continued firing a Gatling gun until they all had the Scorched Beast Queen on the ground. She didn't last very long after that, and was finally dead. The Scorched Beast Queen's reign of terror was over. Now, in epilogue, I must thank the PC group players for helping me out from time to time, and for today's adventure. It couldn't have happened without help, expert help, from Christian, Phil, and Eddie. That's probably about it for Gardner this season of the Roundtable, and she will be retiring to her farm very soon now that the Scorched Beast menace has been eliminated. Or is that just misplaced optimism? In these adventures, Gardner only made it to level 37 and was able to complete most of the tasks on the main quest line on her own. But there were also quite a few where she needed help. Cooperation is a necessary part of this game. Anyway, I'm sure there are many more adventures to be had in the future, so I'll see you all in the wasteland.
That's really great. Thank you so much for playing along all season long, Clint. You've been very dedicated and have gotten feedback in every episode, I believe. So that's really awesome. I've enjoyed so much hearing about your character all season long. And that's very impressive to launch a nuke at level 37. I don't know what the low out there is, Ray. I bet you Ty is under 37 still. Have you launched with Ty?
No, not yet.
Not Ty Cobb. Who's a Cobb? Not Ty Cobb.
Well, Cobb.
Cobb. But his name...
Is Ty Cobb Cronin.
Ty Cobb Cronin, okay. And you said you did not.
Correct.
So
he's still trying to become a general.
Of what's that? Must be Enclave.
Yeah.
There's not a ranking in the BOS system here, is there? Are we we're not paladins or anything? Are we
No
knighted or anything?
No.
Nothing.
No, we just have the keys to their digs in Fort Defiance.
Right on. So open question to the group. I'm thinking maybe Eddie can point me to the answer to this. I've launched a nuke, so I've finished pretty much everything. Angel has also launched a nuke. She's pretty much finished everything. She has the ability to build the XO1, and I do not. What do I need to do to gain access? Do I need to do something or buy plans or hit a terminal, or what do I do for access to that?
To get the XO1?
Yeah, you should already have the plans for that.
Yeah, just off that room where the
can I craft it or?
Well,
Yeah.
there's a terminal where that crafting room is, right off from like where the words
Okay.
appear on the wall.
So if I didn't hit that terminal, I
You
might not
wouldn't
have
have
the
the plans
ability.
yet. No, it's
Okay.
all the way. It's not the Modus terminals. It's a red terminal.
Yeah, it's in the armory.
Yeah, and there you go. It's in the armory. Yep, and it'll be
It's a red
prototype.
terminal, but it's not the terminal you use to fetch the cargo bot for the card.
No, it's in the armory room.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll need to go back there. I was thinking about doing the Enclave, not photon. What is the blaster thing called? What do they have?
Plasma.
Plasma. Yeah. Since they said that they beefed it up a little bit or something, right? Why did they do the normal plasma up 30% and the Enclave one 10 to 30%? What is the effect on the Enclave one that would make it powerful that they need to nerf it just a little bit? Do you know anything about that weapon?
Not me. I don't play with. I use their Gatling plasma, but that's the only one I use.
Oh, that's fun. I know Jess uses some energy weapons sometimes. I haven't really used much energy weapons. I heard someone in the Xbox chat talking about the alien blaster. I think Sergio was talking about the alien blaster and how it doesn't do much damage, but it looks cool. And then I was thinking, well, there are those situations where it is nice to kind of have a weaker weapon. Like if you're out in a group and everyone's going sort of like they want the XP of a blast zone, you don't want to go around just one-shotting everything or taking ghouls down. You see what's like everyone, like we even take turns if we're on the headphones. We're like, hey, did you get him? Did you get a shot on him? Okay, he's good to kill. All right, let's go. It's like everyone got a shot in. All right, let's take him down now. So, and sometimes you don't want to do like as much damage as you can. So it might be fun to get a cool looking weapon to play around with. And in Fallout 4, the alien blaster like sounded cool too, and it looked neat. But then you'd have to switch it over to fusion cells because you always ran out of the alien ammo.
Yeah, maybe that's the one good thing about 76. When you grab the plasma cell, I mean the energy cells for the alien blaster in TNT Dome 2, I think it is, they'll respawn, so you'll be able to keep getting more. Small supply, but it'll keep coming back.
That is awesome. So you build your camp right near there, and you just hit it every time. What is TNT Dome? What is that area?
Over at the old munitions site. I forget what it's called on the map, but right above the Mothman area where there's the munitions site above Point Pleasant, and it's the old domes based on the real ones above Point Pleasant. Used in the Mothman legend. But you can get access to one or two of the domes. I think there's 8 or 10 total, and you can get access to a couple of them, but 2 and 3, I believe you need keys for. One's where you get the Nuka stuff, the Nuka paint and all that. And the other one is for the alien experiments, and you can find stuff for the blaster.
That's cool. I've never gone through that whole process. Pat took me through there one time because he likes to make cool runs and do weird stuff. And he one time when he had all that Nuka dome unlocked, he took me in there and showed it to me, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. And he said, this is where you get the paint and everything. And then he built me the power armor. He put the paint on my power armor, so I just got the Nuka-Cola paint on my power armor that I run around in with my jetpack, which was also built for me by someone else. I also did
Yeah,
not.
it looks great. That's one of the funny things about playing together. Like, there's some of the content that we all skip, because we're crafting things for each other, helping each other out and all that. So maybe we'll see it on the next character.
Yeah, I'd like to actually kind of go through that process. People are like, oh, it's such a weird long thing, and you'll never be able to find it without looking it up on Google or something. Like, that sounds fun. I like doing stuff like that, little treasure hunts. Which is totally ironic because I have like 38 treasure maps in my inventory that I haven't dug one up yet. I need to go on just a huge treasure map binge. Just get them all.
But as far as upping the damage on the plasma this time, I think it's because of the fact that it does both energy and radiation damage. And so to get over armor thresholds and stuff, they had to boost it to make it more effective.
Yeah. Eddie, he mentioned that you had a side project you were working on, but you came back later. Do you remember what you were working on?
Mostly terribly overweight, trying to get underweight. I couldn't. That was the night I was setting up my vending, and I was badly overweight because I thought I'd craft a bunch of stuff and sell it, but nobody wants my cheap rifle. Everybody wanted my Nuka-Cola plans and stuff like that.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about your shop.
Well, originally, because my camp is just north of Flatwoods, I was going to sell, like level 5 hunting rifles that were all tricked out with all the good hardened receivers and stuff.
I
But,
can't believe that didn't work.
yeah, you'd think so, but no, the low level characters, they don't want anything yet. They're just running by on their way to Flatwoods. Everybody was stopping. I had
They're afraid it's a trap.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Especially when the turrets start going off on the dogs out there. But I had a whole bunch of extra, like XO1 Nuka-Cola paint and that T51 Nuka paint job plans. I
So
put them in there. Man, some guy stopped by and bought all of them. I'm like, yeah, he's going to go sell them again.
yeah, he is. Those so you make like a daily loop where you hit those domes to get the plans for the Nuka-Cola paint and stuff like that?
If I think of it, yeah.
That's awesome.
Because I was giving them away for a while, but then everybody I knew pretty much had them. So
What else do you hit on your daily loop? What are your cycles?
well, I usually go down in the White Springs bunker, but up until now I was trying to find XO1 jetpack and calibrated shocks, but now you can buy the plans for it. But I like to go down, and now that Ray's on vacation, I can go down and get all the straight jackets out of Port Defiance and sell those bad dogs.
Do they sell for a good percentage, the straight jackets?
Yeah, they're like 45 caps.
Hey, that's pretty good.
And I had a good clean out the other night. I got over 20 of them.
All right, so a base
Nice.
wow, geez. A base value of 20 caps. Which would mean that I could sell them for about 2, right?
No. Well, no, they're when you sell them, they're 45 caps.
The
because I've got what do I have? 4 charisma and the level 3 hard bargain, and I get 43 caps.
Yeah, I think they have a base value of like 400. At least I think.
oh, that's okay. That's the base value.
Yeah. This is actual selling.
And I'm
But
always
then-
like picking stuff up. I'm like, oh shit, look at the value of that. I'm gonna get and then like I try to turn it in, and then like I'm a dummy and don't put on the card, and it's like, oh, it's only 7 caps. Ugh. Sometimes I'm like, wow, look at this 3-star legendary, and I look at the value, and I'm like, 42 caps? What? That means that the straight jacket is as valuable as a 3-star legendary, piece of crap armor, which is weird.
Just ask there, Eric. Of course they are.
Yeah. He knows the value of every article of clothing, including black market prices, current prices, cap prices. He can transfer it into Scrib for you if you want. He does conversion rates. He knows it all. He opens up his weird trench coat. He's like, "Hey, buddy, you want to buy a watch? Got a watch? Buy a weird hat, a pink nurse hat or something."
Yep, red, green. Anybody else? Has anybody else set up a shop at all yet? Or what are you planning to sell if you do?
I set up. Okay, I moved tiny house, and I finally just before this afternoon, just before the show, I set up my shop. Now I had a whole plan made up. Like I have tiny house there like normal. I couldn't move it because people built stuff on my camp again, and I forgot to take it down before I moved it. I always need to remember to store the things that I can't build before trying to move, because then I could just move the place and it would move everything at once. But because someone built the Wendigo, the mounts, there's a couple of different mounts that people built around. I think it was Gabe.
Yeah, I think Gabe put it up there for you. Yep.
No, I just should have remembered to take it down and store it before I tried to move. But so I had to build everything together. But tiny house was so tiny that it was like a really quick blueprint in my head, at least. So I just threw everything together in like 20 minutes again. Except for I built a power armor sort of like garage out back with a couple power armor stations and the new little shop thing.
Yeah,
and I put up 400 pieces of black titanium for sale, and we'll see. And I moved it right down to the Garahan. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Yeah, Garahan Mining. That sounds right.
Garahan, okay. So I moved it right down there. There's a junk pile, so I'm going to try to start bulking screws and springs and gears to sell for power armor and the black titanium. So hopefully, that'll work. We'll see.
See, I love that plan, and with I like the Nuka-Cola paint too. I've decided I'm building a Fallout Feed welcome center on my main character, talking about stuff for right near 76. So there, I'm doing a bunch of water plans and low-level power armor. So I know people run right by at the beginning, but my thought is it's a free fast travel point to Fallout 76. So for people who are level 6, 7, 8, just starting out, might not have a good base of operations yet, they can free fast travel to 76 if they know that there's a camp right nearby that's like fully kitted out. I don't know if anyone will use it, but that's my thought. Plus advertising the show.
That's great. I love everyone who's been putting up advertisements for the show. I still don't even have the neon plant, so I can't really build like a flashy sign, but I could do it in like the block stencil letters or something.
Yeah, we got those marquee letters, and there's ways you can use objects to kind of make words out of them.
The marquee are the marquee letters Atomic Shop purchases?
Yeah, Atomic Shop. Yep. And they have some blown bulbs like we were talking about before, but they still look nice.
Yeah. I saw someone on Twitter said, "There, I fixed it," but they had pointed lights in appropriate directions to light up all of the different bulbs that were burnt out so you could actually read what it was saying. It was funny.
I've decided Ron's going to be selling Mr. Fuzzies and bears. I just want to do something different. I don't know if anyone will buy them, but because camp decorating is coming soon, it'll be a place for people to buy them to decorate their camp instead of having to come down.
That's a good idea. I bet you Jen would stop by if you could cross platform. She'd buy your plushies.
How about you, Ray? Do you have anything planned yet?
No, I hadn't really thought that part through yet.
Ray doesn't care about such trivialities. Is that a word? Triviality?
Yeah, I need to get my opossum level quests finished so I can unlock the better backpacks.
Oh yes, backpacks. Well, yeah. Why don't we talk a little about that before we get into our next bit of feedback? One of the new additions into this patch. What is the patch? It's not the Wild Wilderness thing anymore. What is this new one called?
It's patch 9, right?
Yeah, it's update 9. It's still Wild Appalachia, still part of it.
Wild Appalachia. I thought there was like a new
That's going to be new for winter coming this year.
Yeah. Okay. But the backpack. So off the top of my head, I would automatically just assume more carry weight. What else are we looking at with these backpacks? Why are they tossing these into the game? I assume for carry weight, and what else are these backpacks doing for us?
I haven't seen the list of all the different mods that you'll be able to make to your backpack, but one of the things I've heard is refrigeration.
Oh, so that would be, I assume, the same effect as the good with salt, but maybe for beverages. No, beverages wouldn't rot. You need refrigeration for meat, though. So I assume, yeah, the good with salt makes.
Yeah, it's probably all food.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know it's like 8 possum level badges to get the refrigeration, but I don't know all the properties yet. It looks like you're going to unlock the backpacks as you complete challenges, as you get your tadpole badges and then your possum lodge badges, which makes me think of the Red Green Show for the Canadians out there. But then
Yeah.
to get the higher level mods for the backpack, that's all possum badges, which are, for people who haven't seen yet, they're going to be just like the in-game challenges. So there are a bunch of challenges in the world that are labeled as tadpole challenges, and then possum challenges, kind of like the survival challenges to unlock weapons in survival mode. Just a whole list of things you need to complete. Then you get badges, and then you trade the badges for cool items.
Speaking of survival mode, I got an inadvertent named weapon for doing something. I saw it up in the corner. It was really weird. Like, you've been rewarded this thing, mission complete. You leveled up with these 3 things on, but it was for a survival mode credit. So there was some weird bug going around where I was playing in adventure mode, but got credit for doing one of the survival mode challenges.
Nice. Yeah, I think a couple people in the Xbox group got that.
It was a 3-star named weapon they have 0 interest in. So I was like, you will be the first thing I cash in. All right. I also saw the backpacks had a lot of different designs, different paints and stuff.
Yeah, we talked about them when we first saw that picture, and then we shared them in the Facebook group, all picking our favorites. There's Mr. Fuzzy backpacks, there's Sloth backpacks, there's faction-themed backpacks, and then, of course, the Atom Shop is going to have some more.
I bet you they will. Yeah. There's already one up. Oh, I was going to mention Ever Upwards was the title I was trying to think of this pack. It's like sort of like the Pioneer Boys or whatever it's called. So, all right, sounds good with the backpacks. Excited for hopping into that. More carry weight. Everyone's a big fan of that. I did see that in the notes. They're probably pushing back camp decoration yet again. I think that was sort of mentioned that it might be by the end or middle of this month, but I think they just sort of pushed it back yet another indefinite step again. They said they really want to nail it, get it right. It doesn't screw up.
Well, maybe they're going to improve it. Maybe they'll give us more than just a display case for our stuff.
Well, that display case is a place to start.
Oh, even that would be enough. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So let's hop on and say what's up with Steve. Hi, Steve.
Kia ora, everybody. Steve in New Zealand here. I wrestled myself up to send in some feedback for this final feedback episode for this season. It's been really fun exploring the wasteland with everyone, stories of joy and triumph and tales of loss and despair. My journeys have been of discovery and exploration, and I can't really comment on I Am Become Death because I haven't quite launched a nuke yet. I know I will probably soon. Hearing Will and Jen talk about it was awesome. Really loved that episode. I dove into the burrows by myself though the other night, and that was sweet. I just kind of ran around and killed ghouls. I want to move my camp. I want a place that's in the mire, that has a resource, and has water. I did move to a place that has a junk pile and water, but there's a cliff in between them, and it's really inconvenient. Maybe there's somebody fancy out there that could do something creative, but I don't really want to be that creative. So I'm going to look around more. Junk or steel would be good. I want to get that metal building plan, so I'm looking to buy that. I've been playing survival a lot lately with Susie, the character I created to play during the double XP weekend. She's survival only. I won't do anything with her that I don't do in survival. So I really kind of fell into it. Things can get tense out there. You never know if someone's going to attack you. You got to be prepared to die. So as far as that is, it doesn't happen nearly as much as you might think. I do a lot of sneaking. So the few times I have been seen by players, I do either die because they kill me, or they run away yelling, "Don't kill me, don't kill me," which I don't get. It actually makes me kind of want to kill them. I wouldn't feel too bad about it either because, hey man, it's survival, but I have run into a couple of people that just keep going about their business, and we warily keep our eyes on each other as we pass. It's a bit lonely out there actively avoiding other players. My survival camp is on a lead deposit in the Toxic Valley. It's small and has no windows, so no lights show, and it's flat, so it's low profile, and in some trees, and it's not really readily apparent. I keep doing quests around there, hoping for the Western outfit drop, but one night I was out there doing one of the dailies, Big Game Hunter. It's a quest to hunt things in the Toxic Valley. So there were 3 things that you had to do, and this was the last of my 3 things I had to kill. I think it was super mutants. But so I went up to the place, and there was a legendary super mutant there, and I'm thinking, oh cool, legendary super mutant. When Mr. Death 14 fucking kills me. He stands over me and he goes, "Don't die in wasteland." And then takes a picture of me with his camera. Is this guy taking pictures of all his PvP kills? Kind of sick and kind of cool. I feel like I just got whacked by a fucking psycho murder hobo. Ugh. I keep low in caps, so I make sure I won't get hit too hard. But I like to keep a few around so that I could, join an event, or maybe sometimes as a fast travel within the rules to one of the um, train stations. But train stations are dangerous, man. That's where you're going to get seen, and so things can get a little hairy there. It may be different now though, because the different patch notes say death mechanics. Cap losses on death in the survival beta are now based on the player's current level will not exceed 50 caps. That's their language, not mine. So it sounds like you won't go over 50 caps. So that's kind of cool. And the leaderboards. So I guess at first there was no leaderboard and it was just an insane murder spree. Then they did the top 3 players with time alive. And so if you wanted to stay off that list, you killed yourself somehow. Then they did the top 3 number of kills. So you saw the people out there actively PvPing were the ones that were showing up high on the list. Now it's going experience based, but it sounds all right. Listen to this. This is what they put in the patch notes today. Scoreboards. Added a new survival score category that will be used as the primary stat for ranking player performance in survival beta worlds. Players receive 1 survival point for every experience point earned while playing in the survival beta. The total number of survival points you currently have will determine your placement on the scoreboards. The 3 players with the highest survival scores will be highlighted on the map. On death, your survival score will be reset to 0. When you kill another player, 75% of the survival points they had prior to death will be added to your survival score. For example, if your survival score is 500 and you kill a player whose score is 1000, they will lose all their points and you will receive 750 for a new survival score of 1250. We'll have to see how this plays out in reality, but it sounds interesting. It sounds like it might inspire a little more PvP here and there, and so that's not so bad on a PvP world. But back to my other character, I logged into my normal character last night, and I was shocked by all the vendor camps to join around the map in adventure mode. Wow, I totally love it. Good move, Bethesda. It really was a huge change from being in survival mode. I jumped in and I took a quick look, and I did see 1 vendor place on survival mode. So I man, I'd be worried to fast travel to it because the dude might have set it up as a big old trap, right? And I'm thinking, well, wait, how could you actually make that work, vendor, so that like even if people go there, they can attack your camp and stuff. So I was thinking, what if you didn't set up a camp and you just set up your camp device like 1 foundation and then the vendor machine? That was it. That's all you had was those 3 things was your camp thing. You could actually maybe sell stuff in survival mode and get away with it because wouldn't be that bad. There would be nothing at your camp to destroy. I mean, yeah, sure, they could destroy your vendor thing, but anyways, I thought that was interesting. And Will was mentioning about the All Rise at level 50 and wanting to get a level 50. And I actually found one at the Watoga vendor for like 268 caps. An All Rise level 50. I'd already done the quest earlier with the character, and so that was great. Mine was at level 30 or something, so upgrade. I think that with the vendor shops around, we'll be able to find things like that. People will get them at level 50 and then sell them. I was seeing some of the PvP weapons for sale, the ones that you had to go do the weekly quests for. So they weren't cheap, but prices will probably balance out at some point. But it would be nice if Bethesda fix the vendor machines so that you can inspect the legendary effects when the players aren't in their camps when you're shopping there. So currently, if there's a weapon with 3 stars on it, you can only see what the first star is unless the person's around their camp, the person that's selling it. Anyway, so yep, that is me right now. I haven't completed the roundtable because, well, I got distracted by the game. So I'm sure I'll wrap it up soon. I am looking forward to chatting with everybody later. All right, take care.
Thank you so much, Steve. Awesome to hear from you, as always. I believe Steve will be joining us for that special feedback episode on Saturday the 25th. So hope everyone else who submitted feedback this season can hop on. Now, gosh, Steve has so many great things to talk about. Was there any way, Ray, in survival mode, are you going to go to that guy's camp? Sarah, is there any fucking way that you're going to trust that? Are you going to walk into that trap?
Not even.
Nope.
I was dumb enough to go onto the Raider bus. I might fall for that.
It's a trap. Sorry, someone had to say it.
Get Akbar yelling to us over here.
I was actually thinking that they weren't even going to have the player vending in survival mode. So that's cool that they do. But yeah, it sounds like a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, definitely.
But his idea of having a very minimal set there, I mean, that could work. They would destroy that thing sometimes, but how many resources does it take to make it? You have to have a unit to power it. It's only 3 power, I think. And what resources does it take? Probably some steel and some other junk. I don't know.
I mean, even if it's just a vending machine, it's still a
Still a what?
Yeah, I'm sorry, you broke up for a second there.
Oh, it's still a way to lure people to you. So yeah, worry about your camp. That's one thing, but going to somebody else's camp where they're hiding in the woods to ambush you.
And people have said survival mode is getting, like Stephen mentioned, that it's a little bit less chaotic than it was at first. It's not just people slagging each other now. There are even people partying up, and if you have headset on, people might chat and actually work with you a bit. So I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I was thinking, what would happen if, we just got 4 or 8 of us together from the Xbox group and just went in and had fun?
We should totally do that. Posse up.
That sounds like a lot of fun.
I'm just trying to think of what the dynamic would be as we run across 8 of us together running. Because I remember one of the first weekends, one of the first Xbox groups we did, there was literally 8 of us or even more running around together in a huge group. And it was just like, people were like, oh my God, no, there's a huge bit. But, we were being nice to everyone. We weren't attacking anyone. But it was I just don't wonder what kind of dynamic that would bring up in survival mode to see a band of 8 of us. Because even in survival mode, I'd probably just be there for the XP. I'm not necessarily there to go kill other players. You know what I mean? I just kind of want to carry on with what I'm doing in normal adventure mode, but just for the XP bonus in survival mode,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it actually sounds like it'd be worth it. And then, some will have their sudden but inevitable betrayal, and that'll be fun too.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, we're buddies. Now we're enemies. No, that's totally great. That'd be really fun. And
maybe we should do that for Friday Night Fights tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
I think Keith or someone had a suggestion for what we wanted to do tomorrow, but I'm not sure yet. I'm trying to find it in the chat.
But yeah, our Xbox chat. I love you guys so much. We have so many good conversations over in there. That's just constant chatter all the time.
Same.
Good bunch of people
it's
over
good
there.
times.
Yeah. All right. And did you guys have any other things you want to mention about Steve's feedback? I like the the psycho murder hobo thing he mentioned there.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Sounds like you ran into Stickle Man.
Yeah.
I don't get the who's Sickle Man. What's the reference?
Oh, just there's that one porch. If you crawl under the porch in one of the houses, it said Sickle Man was here, and it's got a bunch of dead bodies.
Oh,
Yeah, just a creepy reference in '76. I don't know that you actually ever meet the real Sickle Man.
no, I was gonna say, is that a reference to something? Is that a West Virginia folklore thing?
Not that I know of.
That's
But
cool.
yeah, I just liked it. Oh, also, while we were talking about the scouts earlier, I don't know if Ray wants to elaborate, but you had mentioned in the show notes talking about the ciphers as part of the scout quest.
No, so that's the to decode the nuke codes.
Oh, that's the cipher you meant.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just looking at the questions and some of the badges, and I saw the code breaking badge, so I thought you were talking about those ciphers.
Oh, yeah. No, I haven't got to that point yet.
Jesse, you're
Although it'll be
mentioning,
interesting to see if it's the same.
Jesse, you were mentioning like the classic Caesar cipher. I think you mentioned. What is the Caesar cipher?
Yeah, that's one of the questions that they use. The Caesar cipher is just a letter shift. So you have to know what the key is first, and then it's how many letters shifted on the alphabet up or down. So say it's a key of 3 on the Caesar cipher, then A would be C, and you count the letters down from the alphabet for the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the Caesar cipher. And then, there's
Okay.
ciphers and stuff, but I don't think they're going to do too much in the possums. But I did see that one question, and I thought that was really cool.
And I'm familiar with that code. I didn't know it's called that. Nice. Yeah, I've heard already people are relying on Google a lot for this this pioneer camp stuff.
Yeah,
Evidently a few things you have to look up.
I wonder if all the answers are in game, but it is neat how deep they're going to get on these quests. I know we've only just started, most of us, but when you're registering with the fire breathers, they have the quest, and you can find all the notes around the station to figure it out. Or you could kind of go to Google and figure out the answers to some of those questions. So I wonder for the possum scouts, the pioneer scouts, if they're going to have everything findable at these various locations, or if you really kind of have to turn to Google and learn something.
Eddie, have you ever legitimately launched a nuke by seeking out the codes from the scorched officers and such?
I made a good attempt at it one time. I got all the stuff off the scorched officers, got the codes, but I didn't go through with it all the way. I still have the best intentions to do it, but no.
Well, and it kind of explains why the key cards are so prevalent, because it's not like there's just one possibility when you decipher the code pieces. You could have several different words that are possible when you rearrange the letters, and so if you do it that way, it may take you 2 or 3 key cards before you come to the right code for the launch.
All right, so I don't even actually know what the real process is here. Can you explain to me in detail what they want you to do? It's like there's a letter and a number together, and you're supposed to put they form actual words. You're spelling words with these codes, and they can be in different orders.
So there's the first part is the display that's in the bunker, where over the course of a week they're working on coming up with the keyword. Sometimes it's a little more obvious than others what the keyword is, but ultimately you've got to find out what that keyword is for that week's code cipher. You take that word, and then you take all the letters of the alphabet and put so it's where it gets a little tricky. So you pull out all the letters that are in the code word, and you stick all the rest of them in order after the end of the code word. And so now you have your new alphabet. Then you take the code pieces and they have a letter associated with them. And so you find, okay, so in your word, the letter A may be in the 10th position. And so you go down and the 10th letter in the alphabet is J, I think. So now J is your decoded letter for the letter A. And you keep going down all of your code pieces until you have, all of your letters deciphered. Now you take that group of letters and rearrange those into a word, and then assign the original number. So your A that became a J was, say, A6. So now it's J6. Once you've rearranged all the letters to make a word, you've got all the numbers in order. Now that's your code.
Jesus
If
Christ.
there's more than one word that can be made from those 8 letters, then you have to have, however many, code possibilities that you've come up with those letters. So it's a fairly straightforward cipher method. And, once you've done it a few times, it's a lot easier. Also, if once you write it all out on a piece of paper and figure it out, if you're good with words, then it becomes pretty easy. But the trick is that you've got to know what that keyword is from the wall in the enclave bunker, because that sets up the rest of your alphabet.
I'm disappointed we're not learning Navajo, Ray. Now
that all went completely over my head.
You sounded like my accountant there, Ray.
Well, it's hard to describe. It's much easier if you've got a whiteboard and we could write it all out, so that you could see, what it looks like written out.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, like I said before, if this was the only way we had to launch nukes, there'd be a lot fewer nukes being launched.
There'd be no XP farming, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. So thank you, Steve, for the feedback. I just checked our email again, and we had a couple more submissions from Sarah and Freighter. So we need to start bumping it up here with the feedback. Thanks, Jen.
Hey, Fallout friends. Jen here. I have my last bit of feedback for this season with Norman. We're going to cover I Am Become Deaf, and I have a little addition at the end. So here we go. The day had started slowly, lots of prep. Norman was nervous. She had filled her pockets with everything she could think of: mines, grenades, pistols, rifles, and her fabulous 50 cal machine gun. She met up with Hayes, and they headed down to the bunker, figuring since they'd found something called a nuclear key card in a cargo bot some weeks ago, that it would be all they needed to get things done. But there was more work to be done. She was directed to the basement of Mama Dolce's factory, where they learned about the complicated task of acquiring and then decoding the key to unlock the nuke silo. More numbers? Norman decided the process was going to be complicated and time-consuming and remembered a note that she found scrawled in a portable toilet some weeks back. Updated silo codes, it said. She wasn't sure what it meant, but she'd learned never to discount any help she found, and now this clue was starting to make sense. To be sure, she'd checked it a few times, and it seemed that the numbers changed weekly, so she wrote down the most recent ones on her sleeve, just in case the power went out. She wasn't sure how this information was formulated or who put them together, and she was a little afraid to ask. Was it the Brotherhood, the Enclave, the Raiders, some omniscient force that wanted to wreak chaos over the land just for kicks? The questionable provenance of these numbers was beside the point, but she didn't want to tell Hayes where she got them from, and she really hoped he wouldn't ask. Being ex-law enforcement, he had a stronger sense of ethics than she did, and she knew he would want to do it the right way. She was usually of the same mind, but this time she was okay with getting her hands dirty if it meant saving the world. Also, she was pretty impatient, and if Hayes wanted to figure it out himself, it was going to take weeks, maybe months, and time wasn't something they had in abundance. Every day they waited, more people would die, and they needed to stop the Scorch Beast Queen now before it was too late. They entered the silo and were met with some very angry robots. Norman used her powder rifle on them, but quickly realized it was too slow and not nearly powerful enough to break through their metal casings. Then she remembered her big 50 cal. She spent weeks stockpiling thousands of rounds of ammunition, and now was the time to use them. All of them. She opened fire on an assaultron, and it crumbled to pieces before her. All that lead mining had been worth it, and with this heavy weapon and her trusty power armor, she could finally hold her own. She caught a glimpse of her reflection in the mirror in the weight room and saw a Brotherhood soldier wielding a giant weapon just like the picture she'd seen at Fort Defiance. She felt at once proud to be carrying their mission forward, but sad that none of them had survived to see their hard work come to fruition. All of those feelings aside, she couldn't dwell for too long because Hayes was powering through the rooms on his own, and she wanted to make sure she was carrying her own weight in battle. He was always so protective of her and never complained about having to heal her so much, but now that she was strong enough, she wanted to repay the favor. Over the last few months, Hazel had built up some amazing computer skills and bypassed a lot of the defenses in the silo, but where he couldn't hack, Norman used her deft mechanical skill to pick the locks. They were a great team. She was again really happy to be able to make a contribution. They finally reached the missile silo. It was awfully dark, and they found themselves tasked with protecting the silo's robots from the others. How could she tell them apart in the dark? Norman stayed up high on the balcony so she could see where things were and to alert Hayes, but eventually dove down into the battle. With a satisfying crunch, all of the robots fell. Now all they had to do was launch the nuke. Before Hayes could get to the terminals, Norman said, "I've got this," and punched in the numbers from the Pip-Boy she had found, hoping he didn't notice. Well, the code worked. Next was to aim at their target, Fissure Site Prime. They were going after the Queen herself to end this mess. When they arrived at the Fissure Site, they found the Scorch Beast Queen already flying above. They also found a crew of others waiting there to help out, and she was relieved. She and Hayes had become quite a team, but taking down a regular Scorch Beast had been a challenge, and who knows how hard the Queen would be to battle. In a spray of plasma and bullets, they managed to get the Queen to land, and somehow she wasn't flying away. She seemed to be crippled somehow. Never one to look a blessing or a good omen in the mouth, Norman and Hayes stood at the face of the beast and opened fire. Looking her in the face and as the streams of plasma hit her, she felt a bit of sadness. Every creature wants to live, but prolonging the life of the Queen meant the continued illness and death of so many, and this life had to end, and it did. Norman and Hayes were shocked after the Queen died. What were they going to do now? They sorted through their junk and heard over their Pip-Boys that someone needed help with something called a sheep squatch not far away. Still pumped with adrenaline and remaining ammunition, they arrived at the site and found a wildly powerful assaultron that was oddly dressed like some sort of sheep beast. Norman used the last of her ammo and helped to kill the assaultron. Who would make something like that? On purpose. The audacity of humans was something, and their destructive capabilities left a horrible taste in her mouth. So much destruction, so much death. Norman was exhausted, and she retreated to her temple in the mire. While she was there, Hayes went looking for a treehouse they found a few weeks ago, and surprisingly, he started to build his camp there. He said he hated the mire, but he was moving there, by choice. Norman sat in one of the pews of her temple and quietly smiled to herself. Her dedication to Mothman was paying off. She had begun this journey by unlocking her doors, and now her dearest friend was moving his own camp just a few steps away. The mire seemed changed somehow. The colors were more vibrant, the sunbeams more defined, even the gulpers glistened a little brighter. In the last few days, 2 strangers had stopped by to visit. One even entered the temple, paid ceremonial tribute to Mothman, and even stopped to play some music with her. A community starts with 1, and now they were 2, and maybe 3 if Hayes got up the nerve to ask Bubbles out. He'd spent an awful lot of time and caps at White Springs, and Norman was positive it wasn't just about the nuke grape. As she often said to Hayes, the heart wants what it wants, and for the first time since Norman left the vault, finally hers was at peace. The end. I do have an update since the nuke launch with Norman. Norman had been at her camp for weeks, building new pews and stockpiling disease cure and purified water for visitors who had taken the long hike to get to her temple. On the return from an outing to pick up some firecap, she found 2 rad toads. One was attacking her temple, the other seemed to be hopping around strangely in the dark. She killed the one on the temple, and when she turned to attack the other one, she heard a strange rattling noise and saw a puff of black smoke. After the rad toad died, she saw him. It was Mothman. Still emitting a powerful sonic attack, she ran to her temple, paid tribute with her statue, and began to play a tuba. Her tribute seemed to calm him, and all was quiet once again. It had been months since she'd seen Mothman, but this last encounter confirmed her belief that he was still there. Sometimes quiet in the distance, but always still there, watching over her and the new community that she had built in his name. So that's it for Norman for this season. Thanks, everyone, for listening to my first attempt at third person. And thanks to Will for being an awesome partner with all of this. It was really great to team up with you for this season, and to Dwight for having our backs when we were too low level to be doing the stuff we were doing. So thank you. Thanks so much, everyone. And I will look forward to seeing you all in the wasteland.
All right. Are we going to bust out Dwight now? Do I reveal his big secret?
His big secret?
Dwight has a secret.
No one knows this. Dwight has a second connection to our inner circle of ASA podcasting. Should I out him? I don't know. Maybe I shouldn't, since he hasn't told anybody.
That's for you to decide. But I gotta say, Norman's feedback was beautiful.
Yeah, superbly done.
Yeah, so beautiful. And the ending there with Mothman coming around, and people showing up. I feel like if her camp was really established in the mire, and it kept going and the game keeps going, which it will, and maybe she'll keep on this character sometimes, like you're going to grow a whole community there. And I just love it.
She has been a big supporter of the mire. Lots of people have started seeking that area out. I really like the sun rays and stuff through the trees there.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And I mean, it has a lot of variety. You've got the northern side where it is more forest, but still, has an ambiance. And then you get to the heart with all the vines and such, and it gets pinker and deeper. And then over by Harper's Ferry, like there's a lot to it, and all the sun rays. But yeah,
it's good that she got her statue built back so that she could be one with the Mothman again, instead of being on the receiving end of his wrath.
Don't ever sacrilege the Mothman. She learned her lesson. I like that she played tuba to soothe him.
It's part of the ritual.
He's really into low bass, the brass. He's into low end brass there.
He likes those good vibrations.
So great.
On his mothy wings.
Jen, an amazing job all season long. Thank you so much for all your dedication and submissions all season long. And I loved that you made a sweet goodbye to your character's partner and Will there. That was very nice and touching. And I've loved hearing your guys' tandem feedback all season long. It's been really nice to hear. She was talking about nuclear key cards right off the bat. And Ray, you made a comment earlier how they're so prevalent and everything. Am I the only one who has a fucking hard ass time getting these key cards?
Evidently, everybody I know has a ton of them.
Okay, so I'm down here, Mr. No, I don't even carry a gun with me. Like, hey, cargo bot thing, can you fly down closer to the ground so I can hit you, please, sir? It doesn't work.
Well, you have to have at least one tag gun, don't you?
I usually don't carry a gun. I need to start carrying a gun.
Well, yeah. I mean, even if it's just a silly little pipe pistol, you've got to have something to tag enemies that you can't reach to hit with your gauntlets.
I understand that. When I go to the Scorch Beast Queen, I stop by and get a rifle and take that down with me. I'm carrying a rifle with me more in these days, just because. But I found most turrets and stuff they put within arm's reach of my claw, but not these cargo bots. I'm having a hard time getting a hold of these. So you said just have a pipe pistol, whatever, get a hit in. But unless I have another team with me to shoot it down, that pipe pistol is going to take 800 ammo to get that thing down. I think those things are overpowered. I think it takes way too much of my ammo to get that thing out of the sky. Maybe it's because I don't have the appropriate damage cards on my ranged weapons because everything's sort of geared towards melee, but I think it takes a lot to get those things down. And I struggle to get those key cards.
Well, you just got to get them when you're with your big group.
That is a good idea. Could I get a team of 4 together and we summon the thing and we all go get a key card and then I buy them from my team and can that happen? Can they all collect them and can you trade the key cards? Can I farm them that way?
Yeah, I've never tried to exchange one, but it's possible.
I've dropped them before for Christian.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. So then you could do that.
Yeah.
That sounds like a plan.
Because everybody gets one.
Yeah. And then can you summon it again immediately, or can all 4 of us summon it and 4 of them will appear at once and we can each get the card at each 4 spots? Can you have
Don't know why not.
Can you have 4 of them active on the map at once? Each person activates one and each person gets one at each location, so you can get 16 of these key cards in one run then, right? Am I thinking about that correctly, or is that wrong?
No, the math works on that.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, guys. I need a couple volunteers to help me get 16 of these fucking key cards because I'm struggling over here. Xbox group assemble. Speaking of assemble, she mentioned the end game. The shock after you kill the Scorch Beast. What do you do now? I've heard other people mention that. The game fatigue. After you drop the nuke, not everyone, a lot of people just sort of continue on living the game, but a lot of people were mentioning you kind of hit a wall after you drop the nuke. Has anyone felt that sensation?
No, because it really creates an addiction.
Yeah, drop another one. Let's do it again.
And that's the danger of power, Eddie, is it not?
It is. I've been running around with some of Christian's friends, and they will server hop, drop 3 nukes, server hop, drop 3 nukes, and it's just constant.
And what is their goal there?
What did they do? Didn't they do like 15 in a day?
Yeah, I caught like the last 6 of them. But I mean, it's just whew.
So what are they doing, Eddie? What's the point? What's the end? What are they getting out of this? Just XP? Lots of legendary items? What is their goal?
All of the above. XP, legendary items, plus all the
flux,
stable flux
plans now, and stable flux. Usually about every time you get some sort of new plan you don't have. So it's been really nice, but I'm just kind of over it. I've been doing that, and I don't see anybody nuking the White Springs anymore. I'm running out of Crimson Flux for my marsupial serum.
So at the White Springs, you always hit up Crimson Alley.
Yep.
And there's a bunch of those red flowers, whatever those are called, red blooms or something.
Yeah, that's what it takes to make marsupial serum. I bought that plan.
All right, tell me, where am I getting plans to make marsupial serum? Is that an Enclave thing, I assume?
Yeah, it's in the Enclave bunker. It's in the science.
Science. Yeah.
Similar thing where you can access the terminal to get access to buy the plans. Someone mentioned it's a little pricey, maybe?
I think the grape mentats, I think I paid 19,500.
What the fuck? You can only carry 25,000 caps, right?
No, because I think that's like a max daily.
Oh, max daily.
Christian had 30,000 caps, and he went on a plan buying spree.
Oh, I thought that you could only carry.
Yeah, I haven't.
I don't know. I must be wrong about that then.
I think it's mostly to keep people from selling stuff at way too high a price. But you can sell serums for, I think it's 450 caps for each of them, so you can make your money back.
And tell me about their ingredients. You mentioned there's crimson flux involved in that specific one, so I assume different serums have different flux involved. But tell me about the other ingredients beside the stable flux.
That one takes oil, fiberglass. I can't remember the fourth ingredient. It takes a few of them too.
And the resale value, you say you can hawk these out at what sort of price?
Actually getting 450 caps for them. Like from the vendor when I turn them.
I'm doing a little brain thinking over here. And to make a fusion core, it takes one of each of the stable fluxes.
Oh yeah, that's
how much can you sell a fusion core for?
Well, I don't know. I've never sold them. I'm always trying to get them.
Just thinking, I have a lot of the fluxes. Is it smarter to pay the outrageous price of the serum, the upfront fee, to make something that you can make a ton of caps on with a smaller investment of really expensive materials? Or do I make the item that takes a ton of really expensive materials, which I think it's outrageous that it takes one stable of each flux to make the fusion cores?
I'll just go take over a power plant for those. It's
like, what is the smarter build? It's probably to spend the fucking 20,000 caps, right, and get the plans, and then make the one stable flux per unit.
Yeah, because you can clear the vendor caps every day with the serums, if you have to. I try not.
All right, I want to get some serums recipes. I also want to get the fucking neon letters. What that seems like those are outrageously expensive too. What is that?
Yeah, them are pricey. I was a little shocked one night when Ray was looking for them. I was kind of blown away.
What? Ray, you're decorating something?
I think we got them for 9,500 caps or somewhere around there.
Yeah. Yeah.
9,500 caps. Did you have the 3 level of the barter card and the great mentats on, and plus whatever other benefits that I don't know about?
I don't think I had great mentats on, but I had level 6 charisma and level 3 of the hard bargain.
I recently bumped up my charisma to 9, so I can always share a level 3 card. I really like doing that. I'm glad I did that.
Yeah, it's nice when you can share a higher level card.
I think Sergio used to be a level 15 charisma, if I'm not mistaken. That'd be great if I could share adrenaline with a party,
Yeah.
That'd be just an outrageous, mess to deal with anyone coming against us. Yeah. So yeah, Jen, thank you so much for your feedback all season long. It was quite the treat to hear your story. And your partner buddy, Will, thank you as well for your participation. I don't know if this is sort of like a behind the scenes on the email. Will's always, every time he sends it in, he's very nervous and very apologetic about it. And he says the audio quality, or I tried, this is my 14th take, I tried to record it, but I just didn't have the quite right inflection on my words, and I needed to try. And it's like, well, it's amazing every time. You really
It's seriously amazing every time.
Your first take is gold. You really don't need to fret. It's always great. But I'm really happy that you have stuck around and submitted feedback all season long, and it's been great hearing about you and Jen running around together. So Will, thank you for your feedback.
25 years, almost half my life. 25 years forced to live life underground in a vault. 25 years I spent questioning the judgment and sanity of our so-called leaders. 25 years I spent angry at their short-sightedness. How could anyone be foolish and arrogant enough to launch a nuclear missile anywhere on this precious planet? Yet here I was, possibly about to follow in their footsteps. Was I that arrogant? Did our former leaders suffer the same inner turmoil I felt? Had they followed through with what they believed their best option despite what people would think? Would the people of Appalachia understand? Or would they call me a monster? For once, Tannen was speechless. Normally I preferred the company of Bubbles, but for the heavy stuff I went to the other upstairs server in White Springs. Doesn't matter, buddy, I said as I got up from my bar stool to go meet Norman. It has to be done. At least Norman agreed with me. She had been to the bottom of the glass caverns with me and recognized the threat. Since then, the two of us had been promoted to general in the Enclave, allowing us access to the military wing and its command center, which had tutorials for the procedure of launching a nuke. We needed a key card and a key code for one of the silos. The code was split into 8 pieces and carried on the back of officers spread across Appalachia. Though the code was reset weekly, the pieces were automatically updated whether or not its carrier was alive or dead. Seemed like a definite oversight in their security, but Modus was capable of directing us to locations to find them. En route to one of the keycard piece locations, we chanced across one of the convoys containing the key card. We downed the vertibots, escorting the now defenseless cargo bot, and fired away until it fell from the sky. Norman picked a lock, and we had an official nuclear key card. With the key card and all 8 code pieces obtained, we still weren't done. The pieces needed decrypting. The security archive terminal contained an entry saying they had been unable to figure out the decryption process, but they had tended to check a secret Chinese intelligence office hidden beneath Mama Dolce's to see if they had learned anything. We followed this lead. At Mama Dolce's, Norman found a hidden door on what appeared to be a drainage pipe. Inside the pipe led to a secured entrance that we were able to bypass with use of a manager's ID card we found in the upstairs food processing plant. We had to take out a few remaining commie bots and turrets as we made our way to the lowest floor. On a terminal, there was, among other interesting reads, mention of finding an American keyword cipher, but not much more detail. That's when things clicked for me. An entry in the archive terminal said a team of experts and even Modus were unable to decrypt the pieces. But Norman and I weren't from Vault 76, home of the best and brightest in the country, for nothing. The keyword solution, or parts of it, that Modus was continually calculating were actually displayed on the wall in the command center. All we had to do was fill in the blanks to create the keyword, remove those letters from the alphabet, and place the keyword letters in front, creating a new alphabet order to line up against the original alphabet order. Match the letters from the code pieces in the new alphabet against the original alphabet to create a new jumbled keyword, which, when matching up those letters from the original alphabet back up against the new alphabet, will give the proper order of the code piece letters and their corresponding numbers, which will be the key code. Simple, right? Modus said he was looking forward to the fireworks. That's not really something anyone should be looking forward to. Such a creep. We spent the next several days making additional preparations. We had learned one of the security measures for the silo was that anyone not escorted by a missileer, of which none existed anymore, would be met with lethal force regardless of rank or credentials by the many robots and turrets inside. So an abundance of ammo would be needed for both the silo and the Scorch Beast Queen after we drew it out. We thought we should maximize our lockpicking and hacking abilities before going in. Norman focused on lockpicking in case we encountered locked doors, and shared some of our hacking knowledge with me, which I was studying to hopefully shut off any turrets or bypass other security protocols. Her .50 caliber with explosive rounds was already tweaked with what she called a troubleshooter's effect, which made it extra effective against robots. We also had found bobbleheads that came with tips for increasing damage from heavy weapons. I remembered reading in one of my Live and Love magazines, Norman told me that there was an article for ways to decrease harm from rogue or hostile robots. I didn't even know if I was even going to be able to find the magazine. It was buried way down in the bottom of my stash, I'm sure. Actually, that was probably the only reason I even had it in the first place. Might be useful someday. And what do you know? Today was that day. Preparations finally complete, and it was time to go to Silo Alpha. Silo Alpha first appeared to be a small shack at a pond's edge. As we entered, I saw another of the overseer's cache. I ran up to it. Yes! Dog food! Norman seemed very confused by this, but I explained that I had run across a small dog up on a cliff that's owners had passed away, but it was unwilling to leave the spot where they had died. So I wanted to bring the cans back to the dog to give it some food and hopefully eventually coax it away from there. There was also a second log from the overseer at the entrance that very much confused me. She was outraged by what we were about to do, pleading to stop the madness. She talked about feeling manipulated by Vault-Tec for trusting me to help her. First, how did she even know what I was about to do? And second, why was she getting all uppity now? It was her idea to use the nukes in the first place. Way back at Morgantown Airport, when she realized the scope of things, she had said we needed to consider the option. I had thought she was crazy at the time. Whatever. It has to be done, I told myself again. An elevator in the shack accepted our credentials, and we had a silent ride down. Once inside, we noticed right away that there were no turrets. This was a huge relief, as we were expecting many. There was also a laser grid that we had to find a way past. But reading a security terminal, we learned that one of the duties of whoever was supposed to be assigned to that station was to assist people in accessing the rest of the silo. This was done by registering an ABIS biometric ID card. We found some old ones lying around, but first we had to erase them, have our bodies violated in a biometric scanning chamber, fabricate the new card, then register it back in the security terminal. Why all these had to be done in different rooms, I didn't know, but we had to kill a few Mr. Handies and Mr. Gutsies as we went back and forth, listening to the intercom overhead, declaring us intruders. I mostly just used my troubleshooter's shotgun for this, not feeling any real threat yet. ID card registered, and we made our way past the grid and down a hallway to the right. Out of one of the doors, an assaultron jumped out, but Norman felled it with her .50 caliber in a matter of seconds as I took out the approaching Gutsies. At the end of the hall was the entrance to the reactor room, which was leaking heavy radiation. I hacked the terminal to turn on a decontamination shower leading into it, but the leak had forced a security lockdown, so we couldn't go further without repairing the reactor. But Norman picked a lock on a door to a room containing another terminal I was able to hack into and override the security lockdown, allowing us to proceed to the operations center. Again, there was another laser grid, but hacking that terminal showed it was controlled by a Robco GX 9000 mainframe with a multi-core design for autonomous operation. So let's just do this the old-fashioned way. Break it. Destroying the many mainframe cores eventually dropped the grid, and we passed through to an onslaught of assaultrons, protectrons, and Gutsies. At one point, I thought I had killed one of the major Gutsies and turned my back on it too early, and it shot me in the back and I went down. But Norman was ready with a stim pack. Then, Norman went down in an explosion, and I had to hope she was okay as I backpedaled all the way to the reactor room, trying to reload my Gatling plasma as two assaultrons and several Gutsies chased. I managed to take out the Gutsies and one of the assaultrons, but was in serious jeopardy when Norman's explosive .50 came to the rescue. I was grateful, as well as relieved she was okay. By the way, watching the upper half of an assaultron advance using only its arm is both comical and very frightening. We destroyed several more cores to get past another security grid, then headed downstairs towards the storage room where a sentry bot was waiting on us. But again, Norman's .50 caliber had done so much damage to it in a matter of seconds that it exploded in glorious fashion. We killed the other robots before accessing the facility's mainframe, which this one needed its cores repaired, before allowing us through the doorway and down the hall to the hatch leading to the launch silo. As we entered, we caught a first glimpse of the nuclear missile. I marveled at its enormity as we walked around it to some steps leading up to the control room. In the security station outside the control room, I once again hacked the terminal to remove targeting restrictions and let some of the robots shoot each other up before we entered and finished them off. We went to the balcony where Norman initiated the launch prep, and we spent several minutes defending the painfully slow section chiefs while they readied the nuclear missile for launch. Eventually, the robot assault stopped and the silo went dark. Prep was complete and the time had come to launch. I walked over to one of the viewing panels behind the launch consoles and stared at the missile as Norman's nuclear key card and then the key code were accepted. I couldn't take my eyes off the missile as she accessed the targeting computer. A map of Appalachia was already loaded into the screen. There's White Springs, she said, breaking me out of my trance as she maneuvered the target towards a cranberry bog. What kind of monster would nuke White Springs? I thought of poor Bubbles and shuddered at the thought of what would happen to her. Ready? Norman asked. Ready, I said, and she confirmed the launch. We watched as the missile made its way up and out the launch tube. There goes our little boy. Norman gave me a puzzled look. I explained that little boy was the code name for the first ever atomic bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima way back in 1945. Our already full day wasn't nearly over. We traveled as fast as we could to drop site V9 right outside the glass caverns, where we were hoping the Queen would make an appearance. As we approached, my heart swelled with hope. Not only had we drawn her out, but we had also drawn a large group of people, all donned in power armor, ready to fight alongside us. The Queen was challenging to fight at first while in the air, but she landed for a moment, giving us the opportunity to take steady aim and unleash our heavy weapons on her, staggering her enough that she was unable to take flight again. Scorched of all manner, Mirelurk queens, death claws, hermit crabs, etc., all emerged to make the fight more difficult, but some of the others fought them off, allowing Norman and I to keep our guns trained on the Queen. Several thousand rounds by each of the dozen of us or so later finally took their toll, and the Scorched Beast Queen succumbed, ending her reign of terror. We spent a few minutes killing off some of the remaining Scorched, then walked over to the Queen's corpse. We did A-okay, didn't we? Norman asked. Well, B- okay at least. So that was it. I'd been prepared to go through this all again had we been unsuccessful. I would have launched another nuke tomorrow and every single day after that until she was dead, even if it took me the rest of my life. But now, I guess I won't have to. I'd found a broken ProSnap camera and repaired it. So I think I'm going to go all tourist in Appalachia, travel around and photograph its beauty. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do for the next, I don't know, 25 years. Well, that's the end there. So I need to come clean real quick. When Jen and I actually did I Am Become Death, we forgot about decrypting the codes until it was time to actually launch the nukes. But at that point, we figured there was no way we were going to go back and do it properly. So we just looked up the codes online. Since I was really bothered about not doing it the proper way for the feedback, I went back to figure it out on my own, just to add it. Mostly everything else got talked about on the podcast last week, so I won't bore you with any more of that. See you in the wasteland.
Well, again, thank you so much for your feedback all season long. Such a treat, such a treat. You and Jen running together is always great. I wanted to introduce a new another concept. We already kind of do it in the Xbox group. I know you guys do it in the PS4 group as well, and you PC people, I assume, can do this as well with your bag parties you guys like to pull off over there. But I want to do ammo buddies. So when you start this next season of the Roundtable, you need to decipher what sort of build you're going to be, what sort of weapon you're going to concentrate on, and then find someone who has a different weapon than you, and you guys will collect ammo for each other all season long, so you can trade ammo back and forth. I always thought that would be a really fun, neat concept to do. But now that you can sell ammo in your little shop thing, though, I think that'll be great. I'm probably going to be picking up a lot more ammo now. What's the valuable ones that people use? What are the worthwhile ammos to pick up to sell at my shop? I assume it's going to be 45s and shotgun shells, but that's just my opinion. That's what I use. Am I?
No, you're probably right. I mean, obviously, it's the ones people don't use. Maybe 50 caliber, because those are a little more rare. The balls.
Oh yeah, for like the black powder stuff.
Yep, and everybody's swimming in 38 and energy cells. 308 might be valuable too, since there are still a lot of people using rifles.
Yeah, people love those rifles. What's the handmade use? Is that also 45?
That's the 5.56.
Yeah.
5.56. Okay. That what assault rifle also uses that? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it does.
Again, well, thanks for your feedback. He's staggered The Scorch Beast Queen. Is that right? He was talking about his stagger damage when he was on.
Yeah, with the perk card.
Does the limb? No, was it stagger? No, it was the limb. The limb damage he was talking about. Does the Scorch Beast Queen? Can you cripple a wing and so she didn't take off again? Is that what happened?
I was
No.
going to ask the same question because Jen mentioned the Scorch Beast Queen being crippled, and I've seen it a lot of fights when she's down around a third or half, she falls. But I haven't fought her with a character that has targeting.
But I've never seen her where she doesn't like take off again. I don't think. Like it sounds like a wing got broken or something.
Yeah, the cryolator is good for holding her in place too.
Oh, I never would have thought about that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Andrew, we had a fight a couple weeks ago with the Queen where I'd say like the last third of her health, she was just down on the ground. I was right behind her, shooting her in the cloaca, and like everybody was around, she didn't take off at all.
But I'm saying at one point in the whole like duration of the whole battle, she probably landed and took off at least once, right?
Oh yeah, a bunch of times until the end.
Yeah.
I just wondered, does she do that a lot? Because I have seen, like I said, most Scorch Beast Queen fights, I feel like at the end she lands and doesn't get back up.
Well, I feel like it's fucking impossible to take her down otherwise.
Yeah, it would be.
If she's not on the ground, you're just basically just like pew 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 run around, pew 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 run around, and you're like you do basically no damage because we mentioned the imbalance of the damage for melee weapons. So when she gets on the ground, of course that's when all the damage happens to her. But you're right, like when she does get down to the last half or third, it's like she gets tired or beat up or something. But I was just wondering specifically if Will's his extra limb damage stuff he was talking about actually hurt her wings, and that's why she never took off again or something. But yeah, you're right, Jess. They will stay down.
But like I said, I haven't fought her on a character that has the ability to target. So if someone has, I mean, you can see if the limb's been crippled or not. So that would be cool. If
Yeah.
strategy people are using that we're not aware of.
God, what is that? There's a perception card that lets you do target different limbs and stuff in VATS. Forget what it's called.
Yep, I mean, me too, but I love it. Ron has it, but he's never fought the Queen.
Oh, we need to get Ron up to the Queen. How far is Ron from launching?
Oh, he's been at the same place in the story the last 3 weeks, right at Brotherhood at Fort Defiance. I just keep getting distracted by all the new content coming out.
And oh god, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm glad about the new content. That's good.
He's like level 39 now, so he's getting close.
And Sarah, I know you said you didn't actually get to launch the nuke yet.
No.
But you're like on the precipice, right? You're right there.
I'm right there. I just need to get some hoping some PC peeps will help me through it at some point.
Oh gosh.
Sure they will.
They're gonna be like, no, not you. Not you.
We'll think about it.
Well, you got to show up first.
Yeah, I got to log in. That's the hard part.
Was it Friday? We got your accommodations, so you're good.
Yeah. I will say it 100 times over. I would not survive this game were it not for the kindness of others. There's no way.
Oh, that's so nice. That's what I always thought Fallout 4 was missing was this aspect of the multiplayer.
Totally. I got hooked up with Marsupial for my first time ever. Oh, it was amazing. It's amazing. It still is amazing. I still have it. But
are you a big fan of the railroad rifle? Did I gather?
I am. It's my favorite gun in Fallout 4.
Okay, I thought I remembered. Yeah.
Yeah. So Christian found a super cool one. He was just showing it to me.
Yeah, it had, if I remember right, the quadruple ammo capacity, which is a fun new.
That's great.
That's a good one. And I don't recall the other.
I don't know off the top of my head either.
3 stars on it, and they all look like pretty fun little.
Yeah.
I believe it's explosive too.
Yeah, it was explosive.
Ooh, that's dangerous.
And then I think it had 20% better VATS accuracy or something.
Action points, 25%.
Action points. That's what it was.
Points.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Very cool.
Off, yeah. And that's good because you're a VATS user. Hey, there you go.
Hey.
More shots. Explosive railroad rifle.
Mm-hmm.
So do the spikes explode before or after they pin you to the wall?
I know, right?
Into the wall, and then it ticks down 3, 2, 1, like it, just so you can have that last little gasp of terror before it blows you up. Yeah, a little suspense there to kill you. All right, let's check in with the email bag, you guys, real quick before we proceed. There's 2 more feedback submissions. I'm gonna have to try to play those out directly out of the Gmail there. So we'll see if I can bump those up loud enough to play. I did not get a chance to mix those. So, but before that, let's check in with Keith in the mailbag. Ray, do you have the mail by chance?
I do. Howdy, it's Keith from the group. Got some questions for you guys and gals. So I hit level 50 last Friday, and just wondering, is there any special process I should be focused on? I'm on the Belly of the Beast quest, and while viewing the Xbox chat, I saw I need a bunch of stim packs and launch codes, and to join the Enclave as well. Launch code locations? Question mark. I think they're on random with backpacks on them. Before level 50, I never repaired, just went and got another weapon. So I need to learn more locations where the materials are so I can repair. I'll scroll back through the chat in the group and look for locations that have been discussed. Third, the new update with the player vending, I personally see a lot of potential that can become of this, along with the recent double XP weekend we had. Maybe even possibly guilds in the game in the future? Question mark. Thanks, everybody. So,
what's mean by guilds? What's he want there?
Like permanent teams. What's the best way to describe a guild?
Yeah, no, that's a great way to describe a guild. Kind of like a club, or a Discord.
Well, I mean, I know what a guild is, but what does he want? Like with just. I don't know, how does he want us to manifest permanent guilds?
Well, and I think he's also thinking about more than just 4 people at a time.
Is he talking about NPCs too, or?
No, I wouldn't think so. But probably like shared guild storage, where we can trade stuff.
Oh, okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I would love for us to be able to build four people, if you're on the team, to have your camps all centered on one location where you can all have all your camps together. I know that it's fun to fast travel and have points to fast travel too, but it'd also be fun to have a little tiny town.
Yeah, we tried that and discovered that the build zones are extremely large.
Yeah, it's like you have to be like 100 paces away or something.
Yeah. I think I'm the last one in our little spot that
Are you
everyone
still by
had.
the dandelion?
Of course I am. I haven't moved.
I think Phil's still there.
You're right.
Roundtable character, yeah.
You're right. I think it is.
He's got so many characters. It's hard to keep track of which one's where.
That's how I know if he's playing Sammy, then I can walk out onto my deck and see his camp just down the hill from me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, but the idea of like a guild house, for instance, like a place you could build a camp or like a shared build area inside of a building you could enter and then everybody could kind of build and share stuff together. Like, I'd love that.
That would be super cool. Like a clubhouse.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, until then, towns are good, but they are always far. Like, you can throw, like, I would say you can build close enough that you could throw something and hit someone else's camp area, but no closer than that, It's too bad. I would definitely like that. But I imagine that's what he's looking for. Maybe like a automatic group chat. Maybe like guilds often have leaderboards in other MMOs. We talked about that when Michelle was on a while ago, about how you have leaderboards in guilds. So, what people's average level are at, kills, the kind of survival mode stats that they're using there. You could then have guild ratings based on that. A number of possibilities.
Sweet. And a couple of other Keith's points here. Belly of the Beast quest, launch code locations. That's called google.com for your launch code locations.
Or Reddit.
Or Reddit. I don't know many people who've actually gone through that process, Keith. So we we actually went with Keith for his first launch last weekend. Was that 2 weekends ago now? I don't remember. It was probably just last weekend, Keith. I think we took you. So he's actually been through the process now.
And listen to Will's feedback again at a quarter speed. And you'll get a great explanation of exactly how it works.
Yeah, I need to just make a mashup of the two of you having a conversation about how to make those codes, how to decipher that. Just take your conversation and his and just mix them together.
Yeah, that was good. Good info.
Yeah, good info.
Let's see. So that doesn't really apply. You just go to Google, Keith. It's really not. If you want to go through the process, I'll try to do that with you sometime. But we'd probably need a team of 4, and then you go to the enclave, that computer. I think it's the same computer where you ask where the cargo bot key card thing is. I think you can also ask where the scorched officers are. I believe.
Yep.
Is that the same terminal?
It will. Yep.
So
it'll tell you you can choose your silo, and it'll give you a location of all 8 pieces.
So you take your team of 4 there, Keith. You have each person do that, so you each get 4 pieces, and then you all go collect those 4 pieces, each 4 of you, and you each get a different piece, hopefully, and you can get to the cards in one go without having to return and summon them again or whatever, right? Because, right, can't you get 16 cards then?
Well, you're only going to get 8 per silo.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, well, no, you're talking about the key cards. Yeah,
not the key cards, the codes, the actual
code pieces.
Will they all be the exact same on when you pick them up off the scorched officer? Will each of the 4 of us on our team each get the same code, or will we each get a different piece of the code?
No, you'll each get the same one if you're all working off of the same.
Yeah, that sucks. All right, that idea doesn't work then.
But you're only getting 8 of them total.
Only 8, but Ray, that still seems like a pain in the ass.
Yeah, it's not. It doesn't take long as you're fast traveling.
So yeah, I'd like to actually go through that process sometime, Keith. Let's get I'll say it again. Xbox team assemble. Let's get together, and someone, if they actually want to go through the long process of doing that, I'm interested in doing that sometime. And Keith said the new update with player vending. I personally see a lot of potential coming along with this in the recent double XP weekend we had. Yeah, player vending just started, Keith. What are you going to sell? He was asking that stuff in the Xbox group. I'm doing black titanium. I haven't sold a thing yet. Don't you get a notification when you sell something? I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, so the other thing to remember about the keyword is that, so I'm fairly certain it changes on Tuesdays. Monday would be where you'd get the biggest chunk of the words.
So there's people who are nice enough to go through the trouble of posting these. So I guess they have to go through some sort of decryption process. What are these guys doing to figure out their end of the code?
No, they're just going to the
silo and punching it in randomly.
No, to the game engine.
Oh, are they?
Okay. Yeah, they're just looking it up that way.
Oh, I thought they were actually trying to figure it out and then post.
No, because they have those things up within minutes of it resetting, and it's you wouldn't be able to figure out the code word until much later in the week, because you have to start getting letters.
Yeah.
So if you're going to do it, go late in the week and
plan your week around it.
And then look at all 3. So each one of the silos, the code words are coming together, and some of them come together faster than others. So as soon as you see one where you think you know what the word is, then get the code pieces for that silo.
What are common words used?
There's very uncommon words.
Yeah, none of them are common, but each word can't use the same letter twice. So there's that too to help you figure it out.
Yeah, so there can't be 2 A's.
Can you remember any of the examples off the top of your head?
What was that one we were working on, Eddie? It was something.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Something jaw.
they're really oddball words.
Yeah, upper jaw.
Nope, 2 P's.
Yeah, it was something weird like
Um,
that. It was.
Yeah, it was just something that you would never really think of.
I know usually
Oh,
Sunday.
Maybe it was under jaw.
Usually when I go in there Sunday afternoon, usually the whole word's up then. Later on Sunday.
Yeah. And so once you have that, then that sets up all the rest of it.
God, that's crazy.
Because you can't, you don't have your alphabet until you have that code word.
Well, that sounds fun. Let's do it sometime. Keith writes in again. Howdy. Added another question or two from my previous email. Says the new update was released. Player vending suggest prices. Sorry, I got to clear my throat. Sorry about that. Player vending suggest prices to sell your items for. I assume that that is prices at the robot vendors currently. So how do you adjust your prices yourself? And how much do you trust the price system? And what do you suggest? Question 2. I seem to be getting more hungry and thirsty lately. Has anyone else noticed this? Because I do check under effects to see if I have any diseases as well, and I don't. That's all for now. I'm sure more questions will pop up in the future. After a while, Crocodile. Hey, Keith, thanks for your emails today. Question 1 here. Prices. What are you guys doing price-wise? Sarah, if you set up a camp, are you just going to try to charge the same thing they get at the train station, or are you going to try to weasel them more? Like Gabe was mentioning in the group that some of these 3-star legendary items only sell for like so many caps. I'm surprised how low their actual value is, but like to someone, these same 3 things could be worth thousands of caps. So some things you could sell for significantly more than that they're worth, and it seems like some items you'd have to sell at a significant decrease of what their base value is.
Listen, I just want to get on and I just want to kill big shit. So I don't really care.
You're not
I'm
going
just
to
gonna pop it in my. I do not care. I just want it out of my inventory. I just don't care.
Well, will you set up a shop to get stuff out of your inventory? That is a way to get it out of your inventory.
Yeah. Oh,
Set
totally.
prices and go. So
Totally.
you're going to sell everything then that
Probably.
you're not actively using.
Probably.
That's interesting. I never even thought about that way. Just use it as a way to get shit off your person.
Yard sale.
That is great. Do the yard sale version. That's amazing.
Basically.
That's very smart, actually. And does this affect our White Springs 1,400 cap vendor? How is the relationship with the economy going to be affected? Do you guys foresee any issues with this?
It doesn't seem to be related at all.
Yeah, I got to imagine it would have to be completely separate.
Yeah, there'll only be so many people selling per server, so I doubt it'll affect what people go to White Springs for that much.
When I was on earlier, there was 8 camps set up around White Springs, so that seems to be the popular area.
Ooh, that's a good thought, because it's already now the player hub. You can already buy and sell stuff, so
there's so much going on there.
Yeah.
But didn't they just say that there's no more building camps around the White Springs?
Oh, it's just that area, not really close to the White Springs. It was
by the golf club.
Right. Okay, just not by the golf club. So right there, they're taking away. And I never even noticed people doing this. I never noticed it as a problem, but evidently this was an issue that a lot of people are happy they fixed. What were people doing with the White Springs golf course and camps?
Well, you set up a big turret platform right outside that back door, and then all you have to do is whenever somebody comes through, and runs out that back door, your guns open up, or you can go hop off your platform, go open the door, throw a grenade in, and draw them all out, and let your turrets tear them up.
Yeah, and if it's close enough that it can detect the house. I mean, there are times when you would even see missiles just shooting into the clubhouse itself as they spawn, just because someone was near the front side.
That's interesting.
And it caused a lot of server lag. Like that was one of the big complaints. It's
Server lag.
stealing creatures and legendaries. If you like to farm in Outback. Second, it was creating a lot of server lag because there's a constant loop of we're shooting lots of missiles, lots of explosions, creatures dying, and then they come back, and it just keeps happening. So,
But it seems to me that you don't get credit for kills that your turrets make.
yeah,
Glad you said that. I was just about to say I tested this out at a workshop the other day. I set up a missile turret and I was letting it do most of the work. First of all, I was like, wait a second, I'm not getting any XP from those kills. And second of all, I'm going to the bodies and I can't even pick anything.
Can't loot them.
You can't loot them. You don't get XP. I don't understand the point. What are those people doing it at White Springs? And if they can't loot the legendaries off of them and they're not getting XP, what is the fucking point then?
I can loot all the mongrels in front of my house at the turrets kill.
Yeah, you get.
Is it a difference between camp and workshop then?
I don't know because I don't get XP from it, but I can loot all the.
Also, when the bodies are there, you know how they're empty if you didn't kill them, but they're not fully empty. I know people doing the ones at White Springs, especially like if they're glowing ones popping out, they're able to hit them afterward and get legendary sometimes and such.
So crazy.
I've never used the exploit, so I guess I don't know, but I'm positive they were collecting something from them. Maybe just hardened masses and glowing masses. But I thought people were saying legendaries and, getting XP if they were nearby. But, that might have changed over time too. Because I feel like I used to get XP from turrets and now I don't. And I don't know when that changed.
Oh. Okay, so you do think you used to get XP from turrets. Okay.
I think so.
Okay. So Eddie, what are you selling? What price? How are you setting your prices? The same price as the game? Mark it up depending on the item, or what's your shop look like?
I'm trying to stay under what I would be paying for it at a vendor, but I'm definitely marking it up from what I would get if I was selling it to a vendor. I don't know. It kind of depends on what it is. I've been selling them Nuka-Cola paint job plans for 150 caps a piece. And
is that how are you determining that? Do you determine that by how much effort it takes you to obtain the item?
Yeah, just to get the item. I mean, like them Nuka-Cola plans, you got to do a lot of hunting around to get the key to get them. So
is the key in the same place every time? So once you know where it is, you can easily just snap those up each time.
Once you have the key, you've got the key forever. So
you can just go to the dome and get it each time.
When you go to the dome, there's no guarantee the plan's still in there either.
So because a lot of other people have the key too.
And I've been selling. I think my treasure maps I've been selling for like 50 caps a piece. People will scoop them up pretty quick.
Oh yeah? Do you ever go treasure hunting? That's something I still haven't done yet. I haven't dug up a single treasure yet.
The past few times I've done it, it's been plans I already have and just kind of lower level stuff. So I've stopped doing it. You
sell your extra plans. We used to do bag swaps like they talk about in the Xbox group you guys do.
Yeah, I have because a lot of pretty much the characters we're playing with right now, everybody's got all the plans already.
Do you have any foresight to future characters and be like, I'm going to hang on to this one for my next character I'm going to start in the next couple months or so? Do you ever set stuff aside for like might do stuff in the future?
I'm horrible at that.
I'm already thinking next roundtable character is coming up in the next month or so. I'm already thinking, okay, I'm going to craft some armor and weapons with this character I have now at level 10 and 20 and then transfer it over to that character to hang on to for a while, and then so that they can have some stuff to start out with early in the game that's nice.
I did do that when I started this new main character. I built some good stuff and then I gave it to Phil to give back to my new character. It is nice to start out with some more decent weapons and armor.
But like you were mentioning, the lower level, it's just nice to have everything all one set, everything maxed out with armor, and then your weapon, like with all the good scope and the good good flip and the hardened receiver and the whatever scope you like using and whatnot.
Yeah, and it's just like a level 5.
because the lower levels, especially in this game, I felt like I was just scrounging.
Oh yeah, just picking up every short hunting rifle you can find.
Exactly. Yeah. And you tear that son of a bitch apart to you like pick one that you keep trying to improve on and just tear them all apart. You pick up every one. I still do that with the weapons that I use. Like I can't find any more mods for them, I don't think. There's not very many you can put on melee weapons.
No. About the one with the melee weapon with the most mods is probably the baseball bat. You can find scrapping those. You get a lot of mods for that.
And ironic, I have all the slugger cards. That's all the ones I'm maxed out. I've not swung a baseball bat once. Character. It's all fire axes, grogneck axes, that sort of stuff.
So I delved into Reddit real quick just to check in on the Clubhouse camp issues, and they are saying that you're not getting XP from it. You are getting loot from it, but a lot of the bodies are empty. But you know how like when you're on a team and sometimes you'll get loot off of bodies even though you didn't necessarily get a shot in on them when you're in a team? People are saying that, at least some of the time they get loot off all those bodies. But also a lot of the people, besides just maybe trolling, they can stand there with a pistol or a gun, just get one shot in on them and have their camp take care of them for them. So it's a way to farm really easy if they are there.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I do with my team, though, basically. They're just doing it with their camp.
Yep.
Like, I'm abusing the rest of the people who are there with me. I'm using them.
Yeah. I think it's just that location was bothering people, but like I was saying to Pat in chat, there's plenty of room. You can always go to the other side of the White Springs and stuff too.
Yeah, it's just not quite as dense.
Right.
Yeah. I do like that strip back there. I'm surprised how many people don't go back there. Like a lot of people go up to the golf golf course over there, the entrance, the clubhouse. But then it's more rare to see people doing the loop back around all the little cottages there.
Yeah, I like the cottages because you can also get the robots to help you if you're solo.
And that's where I go out there to do my flux rounds anyway after I clear out all the ghouls. Mm-hmm. Start over there. Great. All right. Keith, thank you so much for your email. Let's see, did we get all your... No, he had one more question. Oh, wait. Did anybody else have any suggestions on the prices? Jess, how are you pricing stuff?
I'm just going to go 50-50 probably. Things I don't want, get them out of my stash for a little bit more than the vendors will pay, but not going to charge as much. So, I'll look at top level price and probably split it in half. But like the Fallout Feed Welcome Center, that'll be 5 caps of bottled water.
I'd like to come out and check it. I'd like to come check out your Welcome Center. I think that's fun.
Yeah, once it's done. I showed you the start of it. I got a little further, but it's not quite done yet.
Sweet. I need to get those neon letters too. 20,000 caps. It's ridiculous.
No. The letters are only 10,000 caps.
Oh, 10,000. What the serums were 10,000. A bargain at 10,000. You have those, Eddie? I assume 10 times over.
I've had the Fallout Feed on the side of my camp for months now.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
So wonderful, everyone doing that. Pat was taking over each workshop, all the workshops across the whole Appalachian wasteland, and taking a picture of. He has it, blueprinted, like a concrete sign. It's really cute.
And he'll put it up at some of our friends' camps too if they ask.
Yeah, I should have him come and put it up at mine.
Yeah.
I don't think he's playing this week though. He must be traveling. That stinks. All right, Keith. Let's see prices. Yeah, exactly what Jess said. She says going about 50%. Black Titanium is suggested at 6 caps. I'm selling it for 3. So yeah, that was my instinct too. I'm going 50%. We'll see how that works. I literally just opened it up today and have not made a sale yet. So I don't know. We'll see. And your second question. I seem to be getting more hungry and thirsty. Oh yeah. I saw something about this in the last update, right?
Well, I mean, I know food started spoiling a little quicker back around patch 7.5 a little bit, and it seems like with the alcohol time, people were seeing more hunger and thirst. I feel like we've gotten used to it now, or they've changed it again a little bit, but it's not too bad. It's still manageable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And if you pick up Speed Demon,
oh yeah,
one of the negative on that is it makes you hungry and thirsty faster.
Yes, I do have speed demon, but I've had speed demon for a long time, but I kind of feel like I get thirsty a little too quickly. Constantly drinking that inert flux. All right, Keith, thanks for your emails there. Let's check in with Sarah and see if I can. All right, this is actually email. All right, so I don't have to play this. Let's see. Apologize for my absence the last few weeks. Been running myself ragged between starting a new job. Oh, you don't got to apologize for anything, Sarah. Kentucky's been drowning, like you mentioned here. Oh my goodness. But thank you for the submission here, Sarah. She writes, October 23rd, 2102, Dear Jack. I saw him again. I saw the Mothman. Part of me still in denial about it, but I knew that he was real. I'd been walking near that landlocked lighthouse. I can't explain the feeling that I had when I saw him and being with him. It changed me. I know the last time I wrote you, I said I was going to keep I was going to keep following the overseer on her mission, but I can't do it. Not when everything inside me says that using these nukes are wrong. I've decided that I'm leaving West Virginia. That might be drastic, but I'm done. I didn't sign up to be part of this Vault 76 project I was drafted into because someone thought my father had a huge brain and that I would be needed to rebuild society. What they hadn't counted on was that society is dead, and it's all dead. I went back to Point Pleasant, to where this all started for me. I thought that maybe I'd find something of you. A holotape, a letter, a corpse, something. But there was nothing left of you. Our neighborhood wasn't even there anymore. I took that as a sign. I don't think that you're dead, Jack. I think you're out there somewhere, in some wasteland, and I'm going to find you. So this is the last time that I'm going to write. With love, Bradley. She continues. So clearly I didn't get to finish out the roundtable missions this time, but it's been a blast, and I'll literally see you in the wasteland. Bye, Sarah. Sarah, thank you for your submissions that you got in this season. It's always a pleasure to hear from you, and a great and valuable added commodity to the community. So we appreciated hearing your story about trying to track down Jack all season long. So thanks a lot, Sarah. I like your angle, your storytelling perspective. We have one more here. Oh, this is an audio here we have from Freighter. He says, "Arg, sorry, I'm cutting it so close, Andrew, on the road here." So let's see if we can actually get this thing to play, Freighter. See how close you did cut it.
Hello all, Freighter here with Charlie Matushka's final roundtable feedback for the season. So I think I mentioned last time or the time before that this is basically Charlie's endgame. His whole point of his existence is to, well, he's a sicko and he likes watching people blow up. So this is his very reason for existing, is launching this final nuke. So he went in, knew exactly what to do. He did all his homework, his research, if you will. So he was very meticulous about all of it. He went with Site Charlie, went straight in, down the hall, around the corner to, I believe the terminal is called Security Station Alpha. Not sure if I got that right. But yeah. Went in, changed protocol, got the card, made a blank card, turned it into his own card, stood in a machine that poked him a bunch of times. And then he was able to get past the laser grid. Past the laser grid, there's a ton of robots of all different levels and shapes and sizes, all trying to kill him. Luckily, he brought in... God, what did he bring? He brought All Rise. And... ooh... I can't remember the name of the silenced rifle. I think I brought the Fixer, my silenced rifle. And the other weapon was Tesla rifle. which was awesome because he had like 2,000 rounds, and if you're swarmed with robots, well, that's very effective. So honestly, it wasn't too challenging. There were a few tricky parts, but I also found with, I think Fixer was the gun that gives me the ability to hide very effectively and still be able to hunt enemies. So I was able to be very stealthy about it, get Charlie in and out very quickly. Jeez. Okay, sorry about all the noise there. Hopefully I can edit that out later. Having to record this on the road, and there's lots of loud traffic. One thing I should mention before I go too much further, I was able to hack the turrets so they attack everything, not just me, which actually was a huge help. I was only able to do that once. I think there was a couple of terminals that I wasn't able to hack that probably would have helped me with that. And other parts of the of this launch site. Yeah, but anyway, moving forward, went to the reactor control station. So that was okay to get to, was pretty easy. I was sneaky and stealthy, but once I was there, I couldn't use the terminal without fighting some Assaultrons and Mr. Gutsies and things of that sort that you can't just ignore while you're trying to use a terminal. I did find that with a little patience, I was able to go to the terminal and start the repair sequence or whatever it is. It gives you a timer. So I just hid in the corner, waited for the timer to run out, and a lot of the higher level robots actually pissed off and left me alone after that. So I was able to go around, I restarted the timer and was able to fix the reactor pipes fairly quickly and easily that way. I don't know if that'll work every time, but it certainly worked for me this time. After that, I brought out Allrise, took out a few iBots and such, and moved on to the next section, which I think is what, the missile silo mainframe? Anyway, as you move forward, you'll eventually see a laser grid, and then you hear the announcement, oh, security protocol, blah, 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 so you know more robots are coming. And the idea is you have to break a whole bunch of mainframe cores. You don't have to wear out your weapon doing that. You can just point at it and click. And they'll drop to the ground. You have to destroy quite a few of those. I think there was about 30 of them. And again, being stealthy here helped me a lot. It actually seemed a lot quicker just being stealthy. Not having to fight every one of the robots that came along seemed to save a little bit of time. Once all those mainframe cores were destroyed, I was able to move to the next area, which was a little hard to find. I find that it's a bit easy to get lost in this silo. Moving to the next area, I was able to, I'd actually snooped around earlier, got a bunch of these mainframe cores and took them back to my camp and repaired them ahead of time because I knew I'd need them. So I was able to do this part very quickly. The mainframe control terminal, I think it is, you go to. There's 15 mainframe cores you have to quickly swap out for the repaired ones, keep the broken ones so you can make it easier next time as well. Replacing all those let me go to the next area. It unlocked the door so I could get into the launch silo. And yeah, this next area was kind of frustrating. Lots of super slow robots. I think there was like 5 of them altogether. They slowly come stumbling out, 1 or 2 at a time. They walk over to their respective computer and do their thing. I think it took about 3 minutes for this next process. And being stealthy here really helped. Because I really felt like me moving around was what brought in the enemy robots. And as I just stayed low, they seemed to all just kind of hang around on the perimeter, not really interfering much. Once all the launch prep was done, I went to the appropriate terminal with my nuclear key card. I brought a few this time. But I got the guess right on the first try. I think there was 3 guesses. Or 3 possible answers, and I was right on the first one this time. So that went off without a hitch. Yeah, nice and simple. Where you're standing where you use your nuclear key card and enter the code, you can actually see where the missile launches from, which is kind of a nice touch. Charlie enjoyed watching that happen. And then from there, went straight to Site Alpha Prime, I think it's called. Anyway, that's where you want the Scorched Beast Queen to enter into the arena. For Charlie, it was more about watching the big explosion, though, because, like I said before, he's sick and twisted. If I remember right, this is the part also where you unlock the Urban Scout armor mask, which, of course, goes with the Under Armor that you get earlier on with the Enclave. Moving forward, Charlie went to a nice little area nearby the explosion to watch everything happen. And that's when he learned that he doesn't have to be alone, even though he's sick and twisted. Obviously, there's lots of other sick and twisted fools just like him. Because there were tons of them that came in to help destroy the Scorched Beast Queen. Honestly, I have no idea how many other people were there, but quite a few. It took about, 8 to 10 minutes, I think, for the Scorched Beast Queen, and then there were a couple other fun things to work on in the area. Yeah, and after that, really, I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this character now. He's served his purpose, and his story is clearly over now that he's achieved his ultimate goal of launching a nuclear missile and watching the explosion. So yeah, thanks for listening, and I'll see everybody around.
I love Freighter, one of my sweethearts. Thanks, buddy. Feedback all. It's always a pleasure to hear from you. I love having them on the show too, and they'd have that happen again here pretty soon. Yeah, it's great to hear from you. Thanks for sending feedback in. And I've been prompted that I've been ignoring Laser Lee for far too long. About a month now, I've been saying we need to play this episode. So I'm going to hurry up and say, Laser Lee, go over to the BAD TFL and figure out what's going on over there.
Laser Lee reporting on BADTFL terminals. In the main room, going from left side clockwise. First room has a terminal in it. Personal logs, turret control, and safe control. Personal logs. Personal logs for user, Sergeant Dave Mallory. Log entry, 9/28/77. File corrupted. Log entry, 10/3/77. File corrupted. Log entry, 10/22/77. I'm getting too old for this job. If I have to deal with one more loose cannon officer playing by his own rules, I'm going to lose my goddamn mind. If it's not Willison destroying private property again, it's that maniac Gibbs putting his life on the line. I swear, this whole squad is the reason I've got this ulcer. If the heartburn doesn't get me, it's the constant trips to the bathroom. Getting old is a bum deal. Thank God, only 3 more days until retirement. Then I can maybe take the RV out to the woods, rent a cabin, and finally finish my novel. Turret control. Standard turret control firmware version 8.13. Status, error, all clear. Admin, turret defense system. Units connected, 1. Please exercise caution around turret. Users should always assume the turrets are loaded and capable of live fire. Please choose an option. Deactivate About Your Defense System or System Diagnostics. About Your Defense System. Turret operation should be limited to trained professionals only. Consumer commands are limited to activation, deactivation of the turrets hardlined to this terminal. For all other operations, please refer to a licensed technician. Any tampering will void warranty and indemnify the manufacturer against potential injury and or death caused by users or passers-by. System diagnostics. System diagnostics. 1 turret's linked. Node condition status distance are the columns. 0%. Offline. Error. 39.59 meters. Since the turret's offline, deactivating it isn't really necessary. But if you choose that option, it says shutting down. Safe control. Since it's already been picked, engage lock is the option. After locking it, the option disengage lock appears, which says checking clearance, authorized locking mechanism, disable. The second and third offices have no terminals. There's one working terminal in the middle of the bullpen. Case 155-H, Winter Holotape Logs. Case 155H, Winter Holotape Logs, Evidence Log Entry, EDWI-00, Object, Holotape 00, Status in Storage, BADTFL Evidence Room Annex, Cabinet 4. Evidence Log Entry, EDWI-08, Object, Holotape 08, Status, On Loan, Officer White, Police Precinct 8, Fens District. Case 155H, Winter Informant Log. Case 155H, Winter Informant Log, Operation Winter's End. Entry Log 155H-109. BADTFL Informant Summary. Picking up a lot of chatter recently from Eddie Winter's boys asking after a Jennifer Lands of South Boston. Ran background on the name and turns out she's engaged to Nick Valentine, one of the detectives running Operations Winter's End. Request made to superiors to fast-track the two of them for witness protection, or at least inform them of danger, but request was denied. Higher-ups don't want to compromise ongoing BADTFL investigation. Case 731-TF, Gillespie Trafficking Logs. Case 731-TF, Gillespie Trafficking Logs, Evidence Log Entry, WIGI-00, Object, 158 bottle caps, buff out. Status, in BADTFL Evidence Lockup, R14-G05 WIGI, Evidence Log Entry, WIGI-01, Object, 68 cartons Grey Tortoise cigarettes. Status, in BADTFL Evidence Lockup, R14-G06 WIGI, Evidence Log Entry, WIGI-02, Object, 1 tactical nuclear launcher with ammo. Status, in lockup, awaiting collection by Sergeant Groves, U.S. Army. Case 866-BO. Macmillan Bootlegging Logs. Case 866-BO. Macmillan Bootlegging Logs. Evidence Log Entry EDMA-00. Object, 18 ceramic containers, moonshine. Status, turned over to Biohazard Disposal Division. Evidence Log Entry EDMA-01. 26 bottles liquor. In BADTFL Evidence Lockup, R14-G07-EDMA. Evidence Log Entry EDMA-02. 1 trunk, distilling equipment. Status, checked out Agent Goodwin, 10/19/77. Case 972-SU, Black Suicide Logs. Evidence Log Entry CABL-00. Object, 110mm pistol, recovered from Mr. Black. Status, transferred to warehouse R03-K01-CABL. Evidence Log Entry CABL-01. 1 10mm bullet removed from Black during autopsy. Status, transferred to warehouse R03-K01-CABL. Evidence Log Entry CABL-02. Object, 5 10mm bullets recovered from walls of apartment. Status, transferred to warehouse R03-K01-CABL. Downstairs, lockup terminal. Prisoner files, confidential information, authorized personnel only. Prisoner 2AA6701. Last updated 7/20/77. Name, Luke Paul Jackson. Status, bail posted. Height, 5'10", weight, 159. Hair color blonde, eye color blue. Distinguishing marks, none. Charges, possession of unlicensed laser, personal effects. 1 leather wallet, 1 plastic comb, $50 American. Prisoner 9BD1211. File corrupted. Prisoner 4CA8712. Last updated 9/23/77. Name Opie Hurst. Status bail posted. Height 6'4". Weight 235. Hair color brown. Eye color brown. Distinguishing marks: beard, arms tattooed, back tattoo. Charges: possession of unlicensed laser. Personal effects: 1 leather vest, 1 wool knit cap, motorcycle keys. Prisoner 7DD3668. Last updated 10/1/77. Name Jake Reds. Status currently incarcerated. Height 5'8". Weight 215. Hair color black, eye color blue. Distinguishing marks none. Charges: evading arrest, possession with intent to distribute. Personal effects: 1 watch broken. Boots black. 1 black suit jacket. 1 hat. $23.07 change. Prisoner 1AB7780. File corrupted. File room terminal. Protectron control. Standard Protectron control interface version 2.40. This interface should be used by Robco licensed technicians only. Improper tampering with Protectron units may lead to permanent injury. Status: units charging inactive. Connected: 1 unit connected to this terminal. Please choose an option. Activate unit or choose personality mode. Choose personality mode. Default: subway steward, law enforcement, fire brigadier, medical responder, construction worker. All entries reply with personality parameter reset. Activate unit. Accessing pod. Initializing unit. Loading assigned subroutines. Please advise any personnel standing near charge pod to make way.
Laserly, everybody at the VOD, TFL, and Fallout 4. That's a lot of terminal over there. Gee whiz, those government types get a little wordy, don't they? Thankfully for checking out the terminals over there for us. We will proceed with Fallout Terminal Velocity in future episodes. If you are interested in reading some terminals, finding out some history and the lore of our greater Fallout world and any of the Fallout games, Fallout 76 all the way back to Fallout 3 or 1 or 2. I don't know. Has anybody submitted any Fallout 1 or 2 terminals? I'm always interested in hearing cool terminals. So if you'd like to participate in the Fallout Terminal Velocity, if you always wanted to appear on the podcast but are nervous about appearing live or something, this is a good way. You can record your voice, recording a terminal right on your voice memo app on your phone and send it to Fallout Terminal Velocity at outlook.com. And Radioactive Rebecca, if you have a spot that you would like to do specifically, check it out with Radioactive Rebecca. We have a spreadsheet going, and we can get you guys on the podcast recording some terminal entries or holotape playing or just reading letters or whatever you're interested in. You have a favorite story that we don't know about, let us know about it and then read it to us. Be very nice to hear from everybody in the community. All right. I'd like to thank everybody, Lee, Clint, Steve, Jen, Will, Freighter, and Sarah for the feedback, and Keith for the emails. Do we have anything else that we need to go over, guys?
I think that covered it.
Yeah, pretty much. One more thing in the update today that I'm excited about: changing the interior of Morgantown Airport. We didn't talk about it tonight, but I heard they removed the vendor. They added some notes there, so a lot of new lore stuff to read, terminal velocity related, in Morgantown Airport now.
It's amazing there last night.
Oh yeah, did you go in there?
It's completely different.
I'm excited because it was always such, I mean, it seemed like it'd be a great place, headquarters of the responders, but you go in, there's the one robot you can't really buy much from, and then it's just a bunch of scorched. So that's exciting.
They put in a lot of walls. It's kind of a maze. You got to go down. There's a basement now. It's all sorts of, it's neat. They've changed.
That's great to hear. I like them changing things already in the game like that you need to go back and make that second or third or fifth character to actually see.
Yeah, and they kind of worked it in that somebody has been in there and reworked it, the notes you read and stuff. So it's neat to kind of go in there and look around.
That was my only other comment.
I didn't even read that part. That's interesting. So we got the purveyor coming. That's the legendary the vendor with the script stuff. I haven't cached any script yet. I want to swap. I want to find someone to help me swap, mule my stuff back over to this character so I can go over ahead and do that.
And we think her name is.
Yeah, she works at Managa. The she'll be over by Berkeley Springs train station, evidently, starting Thursday, May 16th. And ever upwards was the Pioneer Scouts quest. So go out, check out the new content. Let us know what you think about it. I haven't really had a chance to start it. I hopefully find the camera and to start to do some of this Pioneer, the ever upwards stuff. There's a new quest and a new event, evidently too. So hopefully we'll have a chance to play some of that stuff and talk about it next time on the Fallout feed. I would like to thank Eddie for hopping on tonight, sir. Pleasure to speak with you.
Yeah, anytime.
Thanks a lot. Jess, as always.
Thanks.
Ray, have a good evening, sir.
Thanks.
And Sarah, thank you so much for hopping on this Fallout feed. Only a few more episodes left.
Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you. Let's all have a good time out in the wasteland together, everybody. Get our Xbox projects together. Help me farm those cards. I'm getting selfish over here.
We'll all be farmers soon.
I'm telling you, we have farmer listeners. Any farmer listener out there, write in. Well, there's at least one out there. I know there has to be.
We love you, farmers.
Yeah. I'd like to thank everyone for downloading this edition of the Fallout feed, and we will see you in the wasteland.
Thank you for downloading this episode of the Fallout Feed Roundtable. If you are interested in doing a play-along character with us, the show can be contacted by emailing falloutroundtable@gmail.com. For the Roundtable schedule, our Amazon link, and all other show information, please head on over to asapodcasting.com, where you will find the Fallout feed, a Skyrimatic podcast, our YouTube channel, the Chatterbox, as well as other content. Once again, thank you for downloading, and we'll see you in the wasteland.